Bless you.
Thank you.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome to the M Zone Live. We're on YouTube and a few other things, Facebook Live. And is that Instagram that I see?
Yep, we're live on Instagram. We're live on the Big 1050s YouTube channel, along with the M Zone Facebook and Big 1050 Facebook page.
Nice.
Still can't figure out why the hell Elon Musk won't allow us to stream on Twitter, X, whatever the hell he wants to call
They
it
don't
now.
want us on. They're trying to figure it out. They're
He's
trying
a-
to stop us.
He's
Trying to hold a brother down.
He's a sucker, is what I'm saying. Okay,
Trying to hold a brother down.
I don't care. Go
Liz,
ahead.
You
Go
got
ahead
us
and
up and running. You got us up and running on all of them, though. We're doing okay.
Doing the best I can with it.
You're the best.
Like I said, you guys are listening to M Zone Live. I mean, look, it's time to have some fun today. Some fun. Smart. I feel sad. It's a sad day for college football fans. Lee Corso, Lee Corso from College Game Day.
Of course.
And he is retiring. And look, a lot of people say Lee Corso did not like Michigan and different things like that. He's had his grudges against Michigan, sure, but he's done a decent job over the years, and I got to give him his credit. He picked Michigan a few times, and we did win. He went against us more times out of that, and he was wrong. So that being said, but he's a good guy. He's always punched back.
Good old Sunshine Scooter.
Exactly.
There he is. It's about time, though. You're 90. Like, what are you doing? Start enjoying life. I don't know. I go back and forth on him. He is a Kirk Herbstreit fan, right? But Kirk did get warm and fuzzy with Michigan.
Don't be dogging out Kurt Herbstreit. We got Herbstreit's kid now.
He got warm and fuzzy with Michigan, so I'm not a Herbstreit hater, and he was Kirk.
Don't be hating on Kirk now. I mean, he's hated in Columbus of all places. The man had to literally move out of the city of Columbus. He moved in another state. He went to Tennessee because he had to protect his family. I mean, look, there's some wackos in Columbus. It's wackos. You can't say nothing bad about
that right. You got that right. Hey.
They will leave. Hey, it's a fan base that makes you leave.
Lee Corso is a fan favorite. That's undeniable. And he had his day with picking mascots and, because of or jerseys. Like, he kind of started that whole thing. And I think he survived a stroke. It was a while ago, though. And the guy still went back to work, and he still did what he did. I was like, good for you, bro. Good for you.
He did a good job. It's
really
great.
Hard to go back to communications after you have a stroke. So he's definitely... He's a great guy.
Well, you saw improvement every time he had that stroke or whatever he went through. They didn't want to tell us, so it was fine. And look, he got Kurt Herbstreit sat next to that man for a long time, and he wait a minute, he pulled him along. I'm just saying, but Lee pulled Kurt along for a while too, when it was just Kurt, Herb, and it was Chris Fowler at the time. He was sitting at the desk. And they would go through game day. Do you think
that Lee was making Kirk the next Lee?
Do I think? No, I think he let Kirk be himself. I think everybody had to find themselves, including Desmond. I mean, Desmond struggled there for a while. He didn't come right out, but he finally found footage and was able to get it going. I mean, now he does a great job. They all do great jobs. And I wasn't a big Kurt Herbstreit fan in the beginning, but he came out and did a great job. He did a pretty good job. He broke it down. After, I guess it's hard to not cheer your school on. I mean, Bo Schembechler, he was on game day. He was the coach on game day for a while. They asked Bo to say bad things about Michigan. No, he wouldn't. Never would he say anything bad about Michigan. So, I mean, they called him a homer, but he wasn't a homer. He didn't see anything bad with Michigan.
Bo was fair, though. If Bo had a problem with something, you were going to hear it. It's not like he would have held back. So I think you're right about that. He's fair.
I don't think he would have called out anybody, though, either. I don't think he would have called Gary Moeller out. I don't think he would have, he again, you protect the shield in which you were the king at. And he's not going to tear down his kingdom. No, that's not how it's done. But, I mean, I get it. But for him, he left on his own. He's like, okay, this isn't going to work for us. It was his decision, not ESPN's. And, it was good.
What do you think he's going to do now?
Lee?
Yeah.
I think you will see Lee at the Michigan-Ohio State game every year until he decides he doesn't want to do it again. But he'll do the head thing every year until then. He'll be a part. I think he still will be a part of the big games. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll have special features on him and different things like that. I mean, look, the greatest thing that happened for Lee was Indiana winning games last year. You know what I'm saying? Indiana rolling the way they did. They were there, and I think it was Reese Davis who was just on. He went on Twitter and said how much love he received when he came back to Indiana when they did that game against Michigan. Yeah, there's so much love. All of his former players came back to see him, talk to him, be with him. So I mean, that's a kind thing. Now, well, I'm going to say this: they came to a game, an Indiana-Michigan game here in the state of Michigan. And I don't know if you know what happened to Lee when they scored their first touchdown, they went out, they trotted out, and they took a picture. They all took a picture of it. We're leading. Yeah. Indiana was leading Michigan. Okay, that game was a struggle. That game was you know this game. It's John Wangler to Anthony Carter. Last few seconds. He springs it. It's the greatest call, one of the greatest calls by the great announcer. What's his name? His name is what is his name?
Keith Jackson?
No. The Michigan announcer.
Oh, Frank Beckman.
No. Before Frank Beckman.
Oh, Bob Ufer.
Remember that?
I'm pretty sure at some point I would have gotten the right answer.
Right. And it was the greatest play, one of the greatest plays of the half century of Michigan football. I mean, inside the stadium was going crazy. AC said he almost died. Anthony Carter said he almost died. He had so many people on top of him. And they were trying to shield them that were on the bottom. So it was crazy that game. And that's Lee Holtz. That's Lee Corso. That's his team. And he could have won, and Lee accused Michigan of cheating. I guess before that play happened, the running back who caught the ball was running out of bounds, and he knew he couldn't get out of bounds, and he threw the ball at Lee because he was standing on the sidelines, and the clock stopped because it was out of bounds. He threw the ball out of bounds. I'm just saying, back in those days, I guess you could get away with that. And so Lee was like going crazy. That should be a flag. The referee said no. The ball got loose, and but he did throw the ball to him. The fullback did throw the ball right to Lee Corso. And
the rules have changed though a lot. There's a rule that just changed recently around faking. Well, it's to reduce faking injuries, right? So if someone, to buy time, right? So the team can strategize and do stuff. So now they're saying, hey, if the medical professional has to come out to the field, this just happened, right? They got to come out. It's going to cost you a timeout.
So if my knee hurts, if my knee hurts, I'm saying, what you're saying is if I go down and say my knee hurts, right? And I get up and walk up the field.
Some people are faking it intentionally because they're out of timeouts. How
do you know when they're faking? How can you tell an injury? How can you tell a fake injury from a legitimate injury?
This levels the playing field, though. This levels the whole playing field. There's an injury. you're going to get 5 yards or a timeout. And you only get the 5 yards if you don't have any timeouts left. And they're trying to make it so that you're not faking injuries, because people will do that. And it's like LeBron James, but football. Oh my God, my back, my knee,
everything
my
about LeBron James. She's got a hate for LeBron James, Miz. I don't know where this is coming from.
I don't like fakers. Don't fake, fraud. But you're right, Jamie. The rules have changed. They're so different now. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But yeah, let's throw the ball right at Lee Corso.
He threw the ball right at Lee Corso, and the ball got out of bounds, and that's what happened. I mean, that was I guess that's what they do.
What do you think they're going to name after him? You know they're going to name something, right? Whether it's a bridge or a hall in Indiana or Louisville, maybe.
Obviously.
FSU.
Obviously, he will get something naming from FSU. He'll get something from Louisville. He'll get something from Indiana. Yeah. And, of course, he will get something from ESPN. I mean, they'll do something at ESPN for Lee Corso. They'll have a room for him. They'll have something for him because he is the birth of the, Game Day. He was there. He was one of the innovators of Game Day. They took the show on the road. It was a college football show, supposed to be in a studio, and then they took it on the road. And look how much it has grown. I mean, it is a monster right now.
It's huge, and it's so much fun. It is so much fun. I always go to
and you see Fox trying to literally take the people off of Game Day and bring them over to Big Noon Kickoff. They're trying. Yeah. They tried to get Reese Davis to sign with them recently, and he turned them down earlier this week. I mean, what are you going to do? Reese going to make $10 million in 7 years. I guess that works, right?
Definitely.
I mean,
it's all about the money, J-Mo. I'm starting to get sick about this money stuff. Like Imaliva, the $4 million, he choked on his own $4 million. And he's in trouble.
He got paid, though. He got $1 million. They say he got north of $1 million. That's what they said. He got north of $1 million. But I'm just going to say this. If he stays and keeps his mouth closed, or excuse me, if he stays and his people keep their mouth closed,
his father,
he's making 2.3 million this year. He's going to make 2.3 million. Or
I'm not a fan of that type of greed.
Show up to meetings and show up to the scrimmage, play in it, and then say, we got some talking we got to do. That's all you got to say. And then people would have been on your side. Instead, you try to hold them up. That's not how it works.
You know,
that's not how the game's going to be played now. Not in college football.
If you look at that 2023 5-star QB class, they've all left to go somewhere else except for, I think, Arch Manning.
Yeah, that's a true
statement. They've all gone. Like, they all left after their first year.
Yeah.
It's like a completely different rodeo. And so
they have to. They have to go. That's Lee Corso and his Michigan.
I know, like, hi, Lee, waving back to him.
Exactly. Oh, look.
Not so fast.
That's right, Lee. Not so fast. I mean, look, everybody's trying the NIL. Everybody wants to know, where are the holes in the NIL? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to. It's all about making the cash now. Cashola, man. I mean, look, everybody, it's coming. Hey, it's coming. Partnerships are coming. They're gonna start playing the student athletes. They're not. Are they still student athletes if they're getting paid by the university? I'm just asking. You know, what does that make them now? Are they, quote unquote? I've heard everybody say they're not employees. You don't want them to be employees. So what are they?
Well, some of them are making more money than the pros.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, now when you say that, I was good. That makes me think of Hunter Dickinson. Hunter can't make. I guess the NBA has just casted him. They just casted him away. He's not. I think he's gonna carry on playing basketball, and he'll be playing in Europe or something like that. But he's not fast enough. He doesn't have that that possess that shot. He's a center, but he's an old school center.
Yeah. There's a piece of me I wish he would have stayed at Michigan. I think he would have had a different perception.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, Hunter, I feel bad for Hunter, but look, Hunter made a lot of money.
He did.
I'm not gonna lie, he made a lot of money.
He did.
He has made.
You're looking at similar guys like Danny Wolf going in, and he's going to do all right. He's going to do just fine. So
Danny Wolf's got an outside shot, though. Danny Wolf runs the floor. Danny Wolf can get up and down, and that's what the NBA is about.
Right.
Shooting the three and getting up and down the floor. I mean, that they don't play. You notice I didn't say play defense. I said getting up and down the floor and shooting the three.
Well, Hunter was a little gumpy. I don't want to make that sound weird, but that's probably why. I mean, you're right. You make a good point.
Yeah, but look, NIL is everywhere. It's gotta, and I'm gonna say this, if this is gonna work, they've got to get all sports involved. Because right now there's going to be large percentages, and this is most schools. I don't classify all schools, but most schools, and I'm talking Power 4 schools. They're going to put most of that money behind the football and men's basketball. Some will do women's basketball because women's basketball has come a long way in a short time. Caitlin, and whether you like her or not, Caitlin Collins has gotten women's basketball. Clark, excuse me, gotten women's basketball to the next level. And hey, she wasn't playing this year, and guess what? It still had the numbers. They still had the numbers. I think they did the wrong thing with the women's finals in basketball. They played it in the afternoon where they should have did it prime time.
Yeah,
they would have got a bigger ABC. Y'all didn't do it right, man. Y'all just didn't get that right. Just saying.
Why did they do that? Why did they put it afternoon time?
They weren't sure. Caitlin Clark wasn't playing, but Paige Becker was playing, right, Miz? I mean, they had some players that were playing. You got two of the best teams and two of the best coaches in Don Staley and Gino. So you had the makings of a great anticipation, but the game didn't really. And I'm gonna say this: TV's coming back at you saying, "See, because they blew them out. That's why we didn't want to do that." I'm just saying. I don't know if you guys saw this. Pat McAfee had Aaron Rodgers on
today. I did.
Yeah.
You know, he also had a warning label on his show.
Well, he's always got a warning label.
I know, but it was something
there.
funny. He was like, "Don't sue us," and it just made me think of the whole thing with the Ole Miss scandal. And I was like, "Oh, Pat, saving your butt." He had to save his butt. He's always like, "My views are not those of my boss, my peers, or that of ESPN."
Well, they can't sue. Well, what you're trying to do is you're trying not to sue ESPN, who's giving him a lot of money. And I guess he says he's going to solve that situation that happened at Ole Miss. So we'll see what he does and what he thinks he can do. I don't know about that. Aaron Rodgers is, quote unquote, still undecided whether he would retire or play football. But he's visited with all of the teams that everybody speculated, and he's had conversation with all of these teams. Now he knows, and the team knows how he feels and what he's going to do. So he says, nobody else is speaking but Aaron Rodgers. So I mean, I'm just saying. But he says he's talked to all of these people. Mike Tomlin and him have a great relationship. So
I want him to take another ayahuasca trip and figure out where he's playing next.
I mean, he might.
Well, he's saying that, and he didn't like what the Jets did to him. He's saying that the Jets tried to hamstring him. I mean, I can't be on the McAfee show. I can't. I mean, you're taking my freedoms away. I mean, in a sense, if you look at it, yeah, they are. He's a grown man.
You should have him on our show, Jamie.
Yeah,
we'll just
I'll
let
bring
him
him
say
on.
whatever. Let's bring him on the episode.
I mean,
I don't want that mess. No.
Why?
No.
Oh,
no.
Mrs. is like,
no.
You know that?
No, no. I don't want Aaron Rodgers anywhere near any of our stuff. I don't even want Pat McAfee stuff anywhere near my stuff. I'd rather have Lou Holtz and Lee Corso talking as much smack about Michigan on my show rather than having those two yahoos on my show.
Lee Corso, I mean, first of all, Lou Holtz loves Michigan.
No, he just doesn't like Ryan Day.
Right, I know. Right. We'll bring on Ryan Day. Hey, Ryan.
Like, I want to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
He's probably at home right now, just ready to talk smack.
Get ready to take a nap. You never know. Never know. But I'm just saying.
If you could have, Miz, if you could have anybody on the show, who would it be?
In terms of
like famous pro athlete, who would you put?
Oh goodness. Pick
a famous pro athlete.
It's going to be a hockey player.
Well, no, easy one would be Tom Brady. You know, that's
Tom Brady.
That's the easy one because not only does he bring the actual like gaming ability, but he can bring in what it's like as he can bring in his ownership. He can put his ownership cap on. He can talk about what it's like being in the booth calling a Super Bowl game after winning 6 of them or 7 or however many he's done. I don't know. The list goes on how many accolades he wins. But I'd rather have someone like that has not only the on-field experience, but, you know, can break down even more. Like even, again, Chuck would be a good one. Desmond obviously is another good one. Now, if you want me to go away from the Michigan aspect of things, yeah, I would like to have, you know, again, I'm a hockey guy. Love to pick the brain of Mickey Redmond or even Larry Murphy. You know, a couple of guys that have worked for FanDuel Sports. You know,
come on, you wouldn't want to have Steve Eiserman on here? We can find out what he's talking about.
I don't want to go through the phone calls of people saying, I want to, Eiser playing, not working out. You need to sit down and shut up.
Oh, Mizzy. Those are some good ones, though. You definitely picked some good ones.
Vanessa, who would you want to have on as a guest?
Oh, geez. That's tough, man.
Wow.
Really? God, because there's a million choices, right? And he actually named my TB12 one right off the get-go. So can't argue with that. That was like the huge checkbox. You could bring JJ back after his first season. Get him talking about that, his experience. First year NFL, since he didn't really get a first year. That would be kind of cool because he's still, you know, connected. Oh God, I don't know. You picked a lot of my good ones. And plus I was thinking a little bit of baseball too, right?
Yeah.
You know, bringing back some of the baseball greats. That's kind of like my love. And it's that season, that time of year. I love hometown heroes. I love hometown heroes. So JJ McCarthy just bought Joe Mauer's house.
Okay.
So Joe Mauer, he was a hometown hero. They picked him up from the Twin Cities. He played ball for the Twins for God, how many years? And then he was a catcher to first baseman. He got a bunch of MVP awards, but he stayed. He stayed home, right? And you don't see that a lot. And I don't know if we're going to see a lot of that anymore, just given all the NIL stuff and all these trades. That's why, like with Bryce Underwood, I was so happy he stayed at Michigan. I mean, I just drove through LSU's campus on Tuesday, and it made me think about that. I'm like, oh man, I'm glad that young man decided to stay home and didn't come down here because I'm in New Orleans today. And I thought about that, and I was like, God, I hope he stays. I hope he stays, because just like I told Jamie, all these 2023 class 5-star quarterbacks, there's only one left that hasn't transferred. It was Arch Manning for Texas, right? They're all gone. And so I'm like, oh, Bryce, you got to stay. You got to stay. There's something about that hometown hero magic. And even if it's not Detroit, that's why like Joe Mauer came to mind, because I was talking about JJ McCarthy and I was like, oh yeah, he just bought Joe's house. And, you know, Joe's like retiring and JJ's kind of the next up and comer. And Minnesota's always had a little bit of a rivalry with Detroit. I mean, sometimes we like Chicago, but Minnesota has its own little Twinnies rivalry. So I do like the hometown heroes. I like the guys that stay home. And I think there's a magic about all of that camaraderie. Like people want to see, they watch them grow up and then they watch them play at an elite program. And thank God we have the University of Michigan right here, in Ann Arbor. And you see them kind of pull through that. And then you see them go on to make great waves in the NFL or the NBA or wherever they're going. And I just think there's something really cool about that. It's almost a little bit like Trey McKinney, right? For basketball.
Right.
I'm hoping he stays for 4 years or whenever he's eligible. He at least exhausts that at Michigan and we can call him.
McKinney's out of here his junior year.
Yeah. He's going
That's
NBA. But what I'm
That's
saying is I'm hoping he plays that entire time at Michigan.
Yeah,
and you can see him. So it's things like that where these hometown heroes, there's a little bit of magic in that. And so that's probably who I would pick are the hometown heroes are always my favorite that I'd love to have on and just get a sense of like, what did that feel like? Because you never left. You had this like fierce loyalty. And I tend to be a fiercely loyal person myself. So that's probably why I'm drawn to stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool. So Jamie's laughing at me like, Vanessa, you're not loyal, you're stubborn.
No, look, I get it. You love your Detroit sports, your southeastern Michigan sports, right? Southeast Michigan, yeah. Ann Arbor's in there, everything like all the key points. So you love your Wolverines. You love when they combine with some of your professional sports, like when they're giving away the hat, the Block M over at the LCA. I'm sure the Tiger baseball will have a Michigan night or something like that.
Yeah.
And you'll be there with the kids.
Of course,
I get it.
Do.
Right. So, or if the Red Wings someday get their stuff together and they put it on the ice and get it playing. I remember the Red Wings in Michigan used to be real tight. I remember those days. And they used to play, they still do the duel in the D, right, Miz?
Yes, they do.
They do the duel in the D. And they obviously Michigan State participates, but it's always, it was Michigan has a long relationship with the owners of the Red Wings. So that's been known.
As long as the Columbus Blue Jackets try not to draft every single one of them like they seem to do. The logic of Columbus, the city of Columbus, and their love for Michigan hockey players, it goes hand in hand.
It does. It does. For some reason, they do take a lot of Michigan guys.
Yeah, by the way, congratulations, Adam Fantilli, the former Wolverine and Hobie Baker qualifier. I believe he was the winner as well. 30 goal scorer this year, especially when he was the third pick in that draft behind Connor Bedard, who has yet to get 30 goals, and some dude I never heard of. Good job, Adam. We're proud of you. Now coming to Detroit. We made it. Shit. Get your butt up here now. Time to go to work. Let's make a playoff.
What is going on with the Red Wings, Miz? Are we still struggling?
Oh, well, they're not making the playoffs for the 9th straight season, so that doesn't help.
Ninth season. 9
seasons in a row after making it 25 consecutive. So the Red Wings will miss out on the postseason. In fact, the playoffs are officially the brackets and everything. They're all set up.
Everything's done,
but there's still some games left in the season to play out. But everything is set up in terms of the NHL playoffs, and the Canadiens got the only point that they needed to. So they are in the postseason, and the seedings are all set to go. So all 16 teams for the NHL playoffs are all set up, and the playoffs start up on Saturday with a pair of games on TNT.
Miz, who do you have going all the way? Just if you could spitball it, who do you think?
Man,
he's got to see these teams play. He's got to.
I've watched enough, to kind of give a decent picture of where I think things are going to go. I don't think the Panthers are going to repeat this year. They've been dealing with the injury bug. Tampa Bay has been playing really good hockey in the East. The series I'm really kind of circling right now that's going to be must watch is going to be what they're calling the Battle of Ontario. The Maple Leafs and the Senators. They get started up on Saturday night. or not Saturday night, but Sunday night. It's going to be an outstanding series between two rivals in Canada, and that'll knock off. Eventually, it's going to knock out one of the Canadian teams from hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be a good series to watch between the two of them. I mean, Ottawa has played really strong. They've found a way to get themselves back in the playoffs after missing it for quite a few seasons. Toronto, in fact, the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs, I believe they wrap up tonight up at Air Canada Center. So they've got that going tonight. If you're putting my back to the wall right now, I want to say coming out of the East, I would say I don't want to say the Capitals. Honestly, I would say it's going to come down to either the Hurricanes or the Lightning in the East, and I'm leaning more towards the Lightning.
Okay.
Out of the West,
Yep.
I would say, oh man.
I mean, you're not taking any of the previous people. I mean, the previous participants in the final games. I mean, nobody. You're not. You said Florida doesn't have it. I get that.
I don't think. Yeah, Florida.
You don't think
Florida
Edmonton Oilers? I mean, the Oilers. What happened to them?
The Oilers. The thing is with the Pacific Division in which the Oilers play out of, it's a real tough division right there with Vegas winning the division. LA really kind of came out of nowhere, I think, this year. Edmonton, they're always a strong team. I think that LA Edmonton, I'm calling it the Gretzky series.
Yeah.
I like
that.
That one should be a really good one to watch starting up Monday evening at 10 o'clock. The thing about Edmonton, they end up being, I don't want to say New York Yankee-ish, but like they get to a point where you're expecting them to be, a franchise, a perennial franchise, but they find some way to kind of goof things up.
They have do you agree that they have the best hockey player in hockey?
They definitely do have one of the best players in hockey, and Connor McNasty,
right?
McNasty, as most people call him, Connor McJesus.
I mean, why is everybody hating on the young man? I mean, I think he's a great player.
He is a great player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the best players in the NHL. I don't know. I think it gets to a point where it's tough to live up to those same expectations. When you're categorized as a once in a lifetime player, a generational superstar,
generational player.
It's tough to kind of live up to those expectations,
especially where he is.
Right, and he's never really had the help behind him too. So that's kind of my.
What does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like our guy, our captain here in Detroit?
A little bit.
He can't get no help. Everybody wants to yell about him. He ain't getting no help. I mean, he needs some guys, some big guys, some nasty guys to beat some ass.
Well,
that's what he needs.
It's true, but again, it's tough to go when, I think Red Wing fans have been really selfish. We've been guilty of being able of being that franchise.
Yep.
Of being the perennial playoff team. 25 straight playoff appearances and then missing it now 9 in a row.
I get it.
And trust me, I'm impatient too. I want the Red Wings to get back to the postseason. Last time they did, they were out in 5. As Shannon Sharp would say, it don't matter. Lightning, thunder, hail and rain. Lightning and fire. That's what ended up happening. I would say, if I'm looking out of the West, by the way, I would go either the Winnipeg Jets. The Blues are kind of limping in a little bit.
Right.
Or I would probably say maybe the Oilers or the Golden Knights in the bottom part of that bracket. But I'm leaning a little towards Vegas in this one. So I think when it comes to Stanley Cup Finals, I'm thinking Vegas and Tampa are probably going to be the representatives. And it don't matter. Sin City, Bin City, Wing City.
Only
Did
you
Vegas
did.
already win?
They did.
Vegas won. They're one of, I mean, think about it. That's a team that's come into the league. What has it been? 5 years now?
Longer than that.
Longer
than that.
Okay.
They've been in the league since 2016. So they've been around for about a decade now. And
There are teams that have been around for years. I mean, more years than that haven't sniffed it.
no, you're exactly right. I mean, again, to have, when you look at the brackets right now, I mean, the Canadiens are back in the playoffs after finishing towards the bottom last year.
Right.
Same with Ottawa. I mean, the Capitals, they limped in. They came in last year as the final playoff team with the worst, goal differential going into the postseason, and they're now the top in the Eastern Conference. The Jets, that's kind of a shocker. They started out red hot as in the league, and then they kind of cooled off, but they kept the pace, and they're the President's Trophy champs. They're having the most points in the league, and that's always seems to be a curse. So that's why I kind of rule the Jets out there. I think they make it to the second round, but I just don't think that they'll have a lot to show for it. But I don't know. To me, I think Vegas has got a more well-rounded team. The Oilers, if Edmonton doesn't, step on their own feet, because that seems to be an ongoing issue for them. If they can do that, they'll be fine. But I think it's probably going to be Vegas and Tampa, and I'd be willing to go Vegas winning the series in 6 games.
Well, I like it. I like it.
And again, that's just a quick glimpse of it. I couldn't really tell you. All I know is that I don't think Florida has got enough in the tank for them to actually get it done. They've got far too many injuries to really, help themselves out, so to speak.
Miz, you always have a really good breakdown on this stuff. I didn't have the golden. I was rooting for Tampa, just to be honest. I worked down there for a long time, and I used to go to their games, and I love that they've been on the upswing in recent years. And so I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna go to the finals. And then you were talking about Vegas, huh?
Upswing. I mean, they've always, as long as I've been knowing hockey, and it's not long. But I mean, Tampa Bay's been very good. They've always
have,
been
right?
Lightning have been very good.
For example, if you look back at the early 2000s, the Pistons weren't good. The Lions weren't so great. The Tigers were hanging on by a thread at times, right? But we had Hockey Town. And now it's almost like reversed itself a little bit. So if you look over the generations or over the decades, in recent years, you're right, that they have been very good for a while. Right. But I had them going, and I think it was just personal bias because I used to go to those games. But then you're talking about Vegas, and you're breaking that down, and it's just some really smart points that now I'm kind of like, well, I hope Vegas does it. Now Mizzy's saying all this. I'm like, I agree with him. So I'm not a huge hockey person. I a little bit just from being in Detroit for so long, but I think it's a good breakdown.
It is. It was a great breakdown. I mean,
that's because Miz is our sports encyclopedia. He is like ESPN before ESPN was ESPN.
Ta.
Oh my God.
There you go.
So and I still think this is the worst pick for the draft being Green Bay. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I get it because it's history. It's nostalgia.
Lambeau Field.
And all of those things that come with it. I wish them nothing but the best. I just don't. I mean, and I'm going to say this, Detroit, they were lucky. They didn't have bad weather. They had great weather, and it happened all weekend. Nothing happened. No major snowstorm, no major rainstorm, no major anything happened, and it played its way out. It was great. But when you look at other places that it's been, I mean, Philadelphia, great weather. They had a great time. It did rain in Philadelphia at a time, but they got through it. Vegas, sports was just crazy, and I mean, everybody was going crazy with that. I mean, I'll say Nashville was probably my favorite because they had the streets full.
Yeah.
They had it full. Outside of Detroit. Detroit was my favorite because I was down there. I was part of it. But I'm just saying, we was running around. Me and Phil Webb was running around like crazy. It was crazy. Like in the kids' candy store. I'm just saying. It was crazy. I just think you took something that is great. Now you're moving it to the frozen tundra. And what if you get a snowstorm or something? I'm not saying you get one, but you get cold weather. I know the Green Bay fans will come out. I'm going to say that. And there'll be people that travel there. I think people that travel there, they'll get there because you have a fan base that is they're maddening. They want to be part of it, but we'll see, I guess. But I mean, if I had to say, what's the next location? What will they pick? You know, I guess they got Denver in 2027, 2028. They got these are predictions. I mean, 2028. They're looking at Charlotte, North Carolina, and then in 2029, they're looking at the Buffalo Bills home. I mean, think about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to have something to kind of look forward to at the very least.
I like 2030 though. Washington D.C. That's gonna be pretty good. That'll be great.
That's a good one.
You get to go see the cherry blossoms and everything like that, and just run around.
Yeah, I mean, next year, as you mentioned, the Pittsburgh will be hosting it. For 2026.
Right.
Rumored cities for 27 as Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. So the new football stadium for the Bills is rumored to have it. Philadelphia, they had it in Vegas. It was a successful one in Vegas, honestly.
I thought it was great in Vegas. I thought they were going to bring it back to Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, don't be surprised if they do bring it back to Vegas. I think the success that they had was outstanding. So we'll just see how things pan out and how the NFL looks at the market size of things more than anything.
I think now that they've run it in Detroit and they've seen what a success it can be, Detroit's a great city. It's such a sports town. It's in the middle, right? People can kind of fly in from anywhere to get there. It's a great spot. I just wish
I think Detroit made it fair too. You had all kinds of people that were cheering for other other teams too. You had of course, you have the Lions and the different things like that, but it was different. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of different. We need to go to a break.
We do.
Go ahead, finish. I'm not going to be.
Well, I was going to say we made it really safe too. I mean, for all the complaints you hear around the country when I travel about how Detroit's so dangerous.
Now go to Detroit.
What?
But now go to Detroit.
Yeah, don't you go Detroit.
I know. They're like, "Oh, bring your bulletproof vest." I'm like, "You'll be okay. Just chill out."
Now go to Detroit. I'm telling you,
you're gonna get got.
You're gonna get got. You better have something. You better have something.
Got my side.
That's what everybody used to say. Don't go to Detroit unless you mean some business.
Only you, Jamie.
It ain't me. People were scared to come here, man. I would tell them. I think it's pretty good. It's coming around. You should come. Come see. Come. Welcome. Yeah. No, I don't want to come to Detroit. You got to be Detroit. And we were a fighting town. Look at our Red Wings at the time when it was Detroit. It was Detroit strong. Look at the basketball team; they were whooping everybody's butt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only one that wasn't fighting back was the Lions at the time. At the time, I said at the time. Now they grit dirty now. Grit dirty.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying. I'm just giving them their props. So. We need to go to a break.
We'll be breaking on video because we're going to be going live on radio here in a couple of minutes.
Exactly. You're listening to the M Zone live on YouTube and all the other things, and Instagram and everything, and even not X though, Elon.
Yeah, Elon, you sucker.
You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
M Zone. Number 23, Jamie Morris, running back.
They give it to Jamie Morris. The he squirts free, and it's a foot race that he will win. Jamie Morris. Around 200 yards for the day and 3 touchdowns. He says he's caught from behind more often than Brother Joe. Nobody caught him then.
You see how quick Morris got through that hole? He has an excellent relationship with his lineman. As soon as they're making the block, he's making the breakthrough. And right here, it is so long, Charlie Brown.
It's time to get in the zone. The M Zone. This is the M Zone.
And welcome to the M Zone. Jamie Morris and Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Missler. And it's Thursday, so the MVP is in the house. It's Vanessa. Pollack, you hear those pedals?
I love Miz.
I love it. Got to find some way to up it up. So
I like it. It's good. That's the way. Hey, she's treated how we feel in our head. So that's a nice thing. Look, if you didn't have a chance to hear us on YouTube, please join us on YouTube. We're on at 2:00. Had some good talks about what was going on. Did talk about Aaron for a sec. He is
a sucker.
Alive.
Oh,
that's all I was gonna say.
No,
I was just gonna say he is alive.
I was just gonna he's a sucker, but that's here and there. But
and he is talking to teams. Says he says that he's talking to teams and he's communicating with the teams and different things like that. So if you hear anything else, he's saying it's not true. He's getting to the point where whether he's going to retire or play football. So, I mean, if you care, I was just, out there putting it out there. We also let everybody know Lee Corso has decided to retire. Long time guy on Game Day.
Hey, not so fast.
One of the creators of Game Day. I mean, at one time it was just in a studio and they used to shoot it and then they put it on the road for a while and then it took off. They had their own following. It was great. Made a lot of other networks go out and have their own type of Game Day situation. So it is transcended. I'm going to say this. It has transcended college football. It is one of the leaders that have helped college football permeate through all of the other sports and different things that it has to go through. But it's put, I'll say football, college football in a premium position. I mean, most people, I've seen it where people say it's NFL, then college football, then I'm going to say college basketball is there, baseball's there, and then hockey's there, and then you got the other sports following there, but it has lifted college football out of the doldrums and taken it to a new level. People enjoy and they love Lee Corso, who was he would be the predictor of the game. He would take the game and tell people, and put on the hats and put on the uniforms, dress up as a leprechaun for the Fighting Irish. He would have a Brutus Buckeye head. They would bring the dog, if you want, from Tennessee, Old Smokey.
For a guy that does not like or care for, Tennessee and their fight song, quite a bit about Tennessee volunteer lore.
Oh, I do know Smokey. I'm sorry. And I you know what, Miz? I'm going to say this. Oh, hold on.
Waiting for it.
Tennessee just scored again in perpetuity. In that game, I'll never forget that. That was the number 2 ranked team in the country.
Wait, hold on. Hello? Give me a second. Jamie, it's Tennessee again. They lost another quarterback to the portal. Yeah, I'll let him know. Okay. Love you too. Bye-bye.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna leave that one right there. Unintended.
All I'm saying is look, Lee Corso brought a lot of things, but he brought College Game Day as anybody can claim it. I mean, him, Kurt Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, and a banty of other people. But
you can't forget about
Chris Fowler,
obviously starting
Reese Davis, and I give them their credit too. Nick Saban, the new guy who's been incredible. He loves to cuss. I don't give a damn.
I'm just glad you said damn and not any other word.
That's all I was gonna say. Hey, we're on radio now. I get it. I know the changeover.
Well, even on video, we gotta make sure we watch some of our.
I don't say anything bad on video.
Well, I got a little. I'm not saying I got talking to, but I'd just say that there were the things that need to be fixed for our video streams. But that's here nor there. But no, he's going to have one last show for College Game Day for essentially to kick off the season. So August 30th, that Saturday, wherever College Game Day makes their appearance. They haven't announced it yet, but that will be his final College Game Day appearance coming up on August 30th.
It'd be sad not to see him again. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's very true. I mean, he was the one that kind of brought the entertainment factor to college football. Like it really was. That was. I mean, there probably were other ways of doing pregame shows, but like taking the show to the people is probably what really revolutionized what college football is now. And like you'd mentioned, other networks are doing the same thing. Fox is doing the Big Noon Kickoff. Big Ten Network does their own spinoff of the same thing. SEC Network does their own with essentially the same thing, but more of a watered down lounge version rather than the everyone is involved kind of thing. Like people show up to the college game to the SEC ones, but let's be honest, no one cares about that.
Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the Big Ten. Nobody cares. They want to be on game day. That's what people think about. They want to be on game day. And I hate to say that because we're a Big Ten school and we're sponsored by, the Big Fox and the Big Noon Kickoff. I mean, but they're trying to catch up because they already tried to pluck them. They already tried to pluck Reese Davis. That didn't happen. I mean, what else can you do? If wait a minute, if you can't get there, people, you got to join them somehow, some way. I mean, that's just going to be the thing that they got to figure out.
Do you guys think they're going to name it Lee Corso's Game Day Kickoff or something like that? Because they're going to give him a building at FSU's campus. They're going to name something after him in Indiana, maybe Louisville, but they're going to do something. It could be Lee Corso's Game Day Kickoff. Who knows?
I'm thinking more of like they'll find a way to. I don't know like how they are they gonna will they keep the mascot head?
I think they do that. I think they'll do that. I think they'll continue.
The Lee Corso mascot, the Lee Corso headgear or whatever. Like if they continue that'd be great. That'd be pretty cool to see. But whether that happens or like how they're gonna twist that, I'm not entirely sure. I think that's something that the minds that be at the 4-letter network are gonna have to try to figure out at that point.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. They got to figure it out, but they'll do some. Trust me, they'll do something nice.
Oh yeah,
they'll do something nice to remember Lee Corso. Because look, you could love him or you don't have to like him. Look, Lee Corso, he got under a lot of people's skin, but he also made a lot of people laugh. He did a lot of things, and he was willing to do a lot of things. He was before his time. From a coach standpoint, he understood what was going on the field, and he articulated it well enough for everybody to understand it. And that's a hard thing to do. Take what you do as from a profession standpoint, and then articulate it to people sitting around, and they get it. They hear what he says, and they remember what he says. And he was intense. I remember he used to come and be on the sidelines of Michigan football, and he would just watch, and he would be yelling, "They're going to blitz!" And he knew when they were going to blitz, and he knew what was coming and what was happening and why things were happening. So, I mean, he was good at it.
Yeah. I had no idea about this because they got a nice little article about him up on ESPN.com. First off, do you know what his winning percentage is in terms of his headgear selection is?
I'm going to say it's 68%, right?
What do you think, Vanessa?
I'll go 69.
Nice.
The price is right.
Nice. Actually, by way of mathematics, he is a 67% accuracy
That's
rate.
me. I won.
Going.
I should have gone one under, JMO. One under without going over, and I went one up to 69.
But the joke writes itself because 69. Nice.
Right. I get it.
Everyone.
Boom.
No. Everyone.
Gonna fly out of my mouth.
Everyone watching on stream, listening on radio, here in the stream, say with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. 286 and 144, 430 helmet or headgear selections all time.
Wow. That's impressive.
Here's the thing that I had no idea about. Like, we knew that he always had the number 2 pencil in hand for his segment.
Yeah.
In the offseason, Corso was the director of business development for Dixon Ticonderoga. I didn't know that.
Wow, really?
In the offseason, he was, during the offseason.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So for all you test takers, you can thank Lee Corso for that one.
For that number 2 pencil.
That number 2 Dixon
that's
Ticonderoga.
They require number
random.
2 pencils. That's what they did in tests that you took, SATs, all of the things back in the olden days. We really had to take it. We didn't just sit on computers and press buttons and do that. No, you had to really take a test.
Scantron.
You act like I'm 12 years old. I had to do the number 2 pencils, the
I wasn't saying you were. I didn't call you a youngin. Not calling you an old person either, but didn't say youngin.
Yeah, keep it together, JMO. I don't need people to know how old I am.
I didn't say anything.
But no, they got a
cool,
nice
though. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I mean, College Game Day started up back in 1987.
Right.
And that's a mind-blowing thing. But yeah, he'll turn 90 at the beginning of August, so that he'll have his final headgear selection coming up on the 30th. So
It's gonna be that Ohio State Texas game, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
They could go there, or I mean, they could be going there. I'm not sure either. I mean,
let me. You know what? Let me just for giggles
just
and
thinking about what game. I'm going with what game is big, and his first headgear he chose Brutus Buckeye.
That's true.
That was the Buckeye. That was Michigan versus Ohio State. I'm giving you some history. I know it was bad. I'm just letting you know that's what his history.
I appreciate the history, but I can't hear Ryan Day or Ohio State and not put my thumb down.
So here are some of the ones that could potentially happen. They haven't officially announced. You know, obviously it's far too early for game times and kickoffs and whatnot. Some of the games that could be up for decision: Alabama at Florida State.
Okay, that's a good one. He went to Florida State.
Exactly.
Right.
LSU at Clemson.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
You mentioned Texas at Ohio State.
Yeah.
That could be a potentially good one there. We could see maybe I doubt that'll happen because it's on the West Coast. Utah at UCLA. That has a little potential there. I don't think they'll go to his sweetheart in Indiana. They host Old Dominion in week 1.
Well, no, they won't.
No.
No.
I mean,
No.
I'm liking the FSU game. I'm liking the FSU game a lot.
Alabama
There's
FSU makes
mentality there for him.
Well, both
football.
are ABC affiliates too. I mean, when you think about it, they're both televised on ABC, ESPN. So
right.
they could,
Right.
So that one I think that one has more legitimacy than any of the other ones I had mentioned. Because I mean, really, there aren't too many other like marquee games further down on the list that would pull up that you think that game day would pull up to. I mean myself personally, Eastern Michigan at Texas State, definitely one of those.
You and Michael Strahan like that game.
We pull up to San Marcos, Texas. Look out, Bobcats! Look out! But no, I think it'll probably be that Alabama Florida State game. That one seems have the more legitimacy of actually happening.
I think it's a good, and it'll be a great send off. It would be a great game to have.
Right.
I think it's phenomenal from a life comes full circle standpoint. You know that. I mean, that's just kind of cool, especially since he is older. He's retiring, 25 years past his normal retirement. So I think that would be really nice.
And I think the other
Did
thing
Jamie look at me like, what?
What?
But
Most people are 55, and that guy went till he was 90. You got to give him props for that.
Okay, I give it to you.
The thing that I look at though too is you've got the old ball coach where he played at FSU, plus you have Nick Saban, who has more legitimacy of being known coaching wise as being the former coach of Alabama,
that's true.
Rather than the other college teams that he coached, whether it was Michigan State or LSU. So, I mean, it's got like a double heartfelt meaning to it at the very least. Now, would he like to finish up at Ohio State? More than likely, but
I think he would. And maybe they'll bring him on as a feature guest. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe they pull that one off because I mean, you're probably looking at Texas, Ohio State. They're that's going to be something that Fox is going to try to tag onto that one to be a new kickoff.
Yep.
Sure.
So there may be a little. Maybe they bring Corso on early on in the big noon kickoff so that he's not usually on College Game Day the entire time. So maybe you have him on and one of the first segments of the show, maybe simulcast kind of like how they would do when Herb Street was doing like the trip from one location all the way to the Cotton Bowl, I think it was, for that Red River rivalry matchup. So I mean that there's a lot to it, but I do think that Alabama Florida State game, I think Tallahassee, circle that one on your calendars. That's got to be the one right there.
Yeah, I think that Florida State game is probably a good one, but you could see for sure Ohio State, especially since Kirk Herbstreit is his mentee. He's mentored Kirk for so many years. They have played in similar roles on camera and, in the field. And so I do think there's some sentimentality there too. And Ohio State, Texas game, I mean, as a Wolverine saying this, that's a big game. Those are two powerhouse teams. You can't deny that. Fair is fair. So I could completely see him doing that. Or like Jamie said, bringing him back as a featured guest. But I think it would be kind of cool with the Kirk Herbstreit thing, either in Ohio, because it's like the passing of the baton, if you think about that. It's a little bit similar to Saban because he'll be at the FSU game. That's who they're playing. There's a little bit of that, like passing the baton to the next guy. And hopefully he goes till he's 90 as well, because there's some, kind of uniqueness in that and longevity. And that's a really cool thing.
Yeah. The other game, like you said, they're week one, you've got your handful of marquee games of, non-conference games, so to speak. But I mean, for the most part, like I said, the three that I mentioned, the Alabama, Florida State, LSU, Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, to me, those are probably the three that you've got circled as potential landing spots. I mean, Tennessee at Syracuse, but that one's, that could be a potential one because that's down at Mercedes-Benz down Atlanta. And I mean, that's SEC country to its finest. So that may be another one where they say, hey, let's do the show from inside the dome, where Coach ain't sweating his butt off, maybe. But again, I don't know entirely. I'm not entirely sure. Because I'm kind of looking at like the entire week 0, week 1 of games. Just to see, like, what should we keep an eye out for that first week of games or that week 0 of games? I had no idea they had a big one set up. To start it's the game in Dublin,
right?
That got set up. Kansas State and Iowa State, which is the last place I expect those two teams playing at.
I don't get why I guess they're just having games there now, but there was always that game because the Irish were playing. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And now it's like, okay, we're going to try all the colleges. We're going to try to get as many different colleges we can get there. And I'm like, I guess if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But what's the history between the place and the school and the schools?
I mean, as far as the schools and the location, that doesn't make sense. Like last year made sense because you had Notre Dame, you had the Fighting Irish.
That's what I'm saying.
It made a lot of sense. I think the year prior also didn't make sense because I think you had Nebraska and I think it was Navy and Nebraska,
right?
And
now,
that
Navy, the reason why Navy, because they come over there and they play Notre Dame. Usually they play Notre Dame. And you figure, okay, Notre Dame they got something on their schedule. Navy just brought Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But now you're just playing games there now. I mean, Kansas State and Iowa State, that's kind of weird. But I guess, you know what? Good for the kids. Good traveling, good education, whatever. Keep it steady if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great learning experience for the kids. I think that's I think the biggest thing of it all. That and if you can find a way to, I'm pretty sure let me just do a little Google search on how old you have to be, your legal drinking age of.
What is it, like 12?
Probably everybody's got, even the baby's got a beer in his hand. Probably singing in the store.
Pretty sure they all can. The legal drinking age in Ireland is 18. So have a Guinness while you're over there, kids. So there you go. Just make sure Coach doesn't find out. Just make sure that Matt Campbell doesn't find out. He'll probably just look at you going, "Hey, you got that NIL money. Why don't you hook a brother up, man?"
Do you guys know which games we have for Michigan going overseas this coming season? I'm trying to think. I think there's a women's team going over soon.
In Europe?
Yeah, coming up in the next season.
I gotta double check that because I think you might be right. I think you're right about as far as next season for the women, because I know that was they had a lot of can't remember what it was called, but it was like the Go tournament that they had over in France.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that was something for
it's like from last year. Right? I think it's not only the unique opportunity to learn and grow in another culture and kind of see and do all the things there and experience it, but it's to play the sport you love and your university sent you. I just think that's really cool.
No, absolutely. You're right. We need to go to a break. On the other side, we got Nick Baumgardner coming up, a guy with the Athletic. Nick is he's a draft analyst, an expert draft analyst. So we'll find out. You get your favorite team. And, we'll talk about the Lions and see what they're doing and what they're thinking about ahead. But it's that time of the year. So you're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050. And if you're on live with us,
we are clear on radio.
And if you're on live with us, you can hear our bantering with Nick.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
As he's on right now.
What's up, Nick? How you doing?
Just letting you know, giving you for a warning that
you're live.
We're live right now. So people.
All right, I'll keep my swearing to a minimum, Jamie. No problem.
I get in trouble already.
I know, right? How we doing?
We're good. How about you?
Very good. Very good. Y'all ready for this draft?
I still don't know who's what, where, and everything. I mean, the Giants have decided that, hey, we need to go see those two Colorado players again. What the hell?
You know what I think they're trying to do is trade it. I think they're trying to get somebody to, they're going to take Shador if you don't do it. And I don't know. That'd be hard to do at 3.
I agree with you on that. I know they're trying to do something, but you either like them or you hate them. Seems like a lot of people hate him right now.
I'm in the middle with him. I think he's a solid player, but I mean, it's like Bo Nix. That's what he reminds me of. It's
Right.
hard. It's hard to say that he would be like the savior on a terrible team. You know.
Well, he's not going to save on a terrible team. He's going to be terrible too.
I'm afraid you'd lose him, like
Right.
Bryce Young. You know, like that.
Yes.
I mean, Shadur's got a lot of confidence. I also don't know how much of it is real. You know, and how much of it is like family injected. But
Daddy,
we'll see,
yeah.
you know?
Is it daddy induced? You know, daddy induced because
he is a little bit like he's a calm dude out there. I mean, he's not bad. I mean, I don't get on board with people who are like, you know, he's going to be a total bust. I don't necessarily know that that's going to happen.
Well, that's the problem. You got people that hate him because of
because he's brash and
yes, and how he acts.
Hey, you know how that's not going to go well in the locker room, though. Some of that stuff's got to go away. He's got to calm down with some of that. Like you're not going to walk into an NFL locker room with all that, you know, swagger and everything else.
He get his head beat in. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll straighten him up. The locker room always straightens up everybody.
It will. And he'll probably be able to handle it too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing that happens. The locker room will straighten you up real quick.
Well, 5 minutes.
Exactly. We don't do that here, rookie.
See, I'm kind of curious to see, you know, what kind of trades are going to get done leading up to the draft more than anything.
What do you think about Cousins? Think he's going to go anywhere?
Too much money. Unless Atlanta pays it. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta's got to absorb it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everybody's just anybody that wants Cousins, I feel like just waiting them out to be like, you're going to have to cut him anyway.
Yep. You got to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, if
what a stupid signing.
Yeah.
By the way, what?
I was going to say, if people are watching on stream, if they got questions to ask, maybe we'll feed them through and get them up and, you know, ask some questions from the chat if they want to weigh in.
I like it. We could do that.
Find different ways to make it interactive at the very least. So we got that going for us.
Nick, I got your book on my coffee table.
Oh, very good. Very good. We got a new one coming out. Jamie wrote the foreword for my next one.
Oh, how fantastic.
August.
When it's this August.
It'll be in August. I haven't announced it yet. I think I'm going to announce it out next week, actually. But the link is sort of, I think it's available now somewhere.
What's it called?
It's the program, it's called The Program, A Curated History of the Michigan Wolverine. So it's a kind of a history book of the whole thing from Yost all the way through all the coaches. And then we also did vignettes on all the best players at each position. I tried to get in.
Oh, I love that. You know, they have a Netflix, I think, documentary or something coming out, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
I heard something about the 2023 championship team, right?
Very cool.
I think they're doing something there. And then actually your book, I have signed. I got Mark to sign it. And I need
nice. I got to sign it too. Yeah, right.
You can't just leave it like that with only Mark.
Just Mark's signature, ruining it. No, I'm just kidding. That was a lot of fun too. That book was really fun to work on. Mark and I had a really good time with that. We spent so much time with Lloyd. Lloyd's the man. Lloyd's the best.
I bet. I had him at one of my signing events. I'm on the alumni board for the club, and I had an NIL signing event. And I had Mark there, and he had a bunch of his books.
That's
and I'm
right.
like, where's Nick? I'm like, I need his autograph too. And he's like, oh, you just got mine. So.
All right. So we are coming back on radio, so stand by, folks.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Missler.
Yeah.
You got the MVP, Ms. Vanessa Pollack, joining us again today on Thursday. Blessing her with her gracefulness that she does. And with us is the man with the plan. The man that knows what's going on in the NFL draft, Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic. Nick, I know people are asking you the question, who's going to be number one? Who's this? What is this guy going to do? Is there a Jalen Daniels in this group?
No, there's not. And that is the difference here in this class, okay? No Jaden Daniels.
Rip the bandage off for us. Thank you.
There's not. And that's the big thing I think that a lot of people have gotten confused on a little bit, where last year's class was so good because it wasn't just Daniels, it was Caleb and then Drake
Right.
May, and you had
Mhm.
Nix and McCarthy and Penix, and you had all these guys. And I just don't think that these guys stack up to. I'm nervous for the Titans, even at 1, to take Cam Ward. And I like Cam Ward. I like Shedeur Sanders. I like both those guys. But like we were talking on the break there, if they're going to go to a bad team, my concern is the Bryce Young situation where you put him on a bad team, he gets beaten up a lot, and then he takes a lot of lumps, and he's not improving, and then he loses his confidence, and then the trajectory goes the other way, and suddenly we start, year 2, week 3, people are panicking or something.
Mhm.
And I hate seeing that with these young guys because it happens all the time. It happened to Justin Fields, I mean, it's on and on it goes. So I'm nervous with Cam Ward at 1, although I do like Cam Ward the best. I think he's got probably the best, long-term upside, the best athlete, best arm, all that stuff. So we'll see what happens. They're not boring. I mean, I'll say that. It's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Nick, they say that Travis Hunter, he wants to play both ways. He endears this to himself. He's been doing it all his life. He doesn't want to stop doing it. But Nick, does he really have that option? I mean, it's really when the team drafts you, they tell you what you are. You don't tell them, and that's going to be a bit of a problem because there's a lot. I'm just going to say this: there's a lot of bravado in there. Bravado that's going on in this particular draft. There's a lot of guys that like to chirp. There's a lot of guys that feel their oats and say, "I'm the man around this."
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love that Travis was kind of like, I'd rather not play football if they tell me I can't play both ways. I saw that the other day, and I was like, maybe calm down on that a little bit. But I do think wherever he goes, be it Cleveland or the Giants or wherever, I feel like they're going to give him a chance at least. He'll be in there in the summer, right? And he's so good and so smooth at both positions that I think whoever takes him is going to learn this pretty quickly. Like a lot of times with guys like that in college, we would always say, stop moving him around, leave him alone, let him sit at one position and learn it. And then if you want to tinker, go ahead. Like when Peppers was here, they got so far ahead of themselves when Brady, even before, I think Brady actually, Hope was the guy who was like, he's just going to play one spot and we're not going to mess with anything else. And on it goes. And he ended up figuring it out at the end. But like Hunter is so natural at both these spots that I almost feel like the Browns or the Giants, you owe it to yourself to at least see what he can handle. I don't think he's going to be able to do all of it all the time like he did at Colorado. No. I think he's probably going to have a primary position somewhere. But I do think you'd be sort of, cheating yourself if you don't at least see if you can get something out of him both ways. Because I also think in time, Jamie, when he matures and becomes, the guy that we all know he's going to be, as a player and gets bigger and stronger, all those things, that I think you could take Travis Hunter and say, all right, week 1, we like you at receiver. Week 4, we like you at corner. Week 5, we like, back and forth. I think you could match up him based on who you're playing. And that's about, the most unique weapon I could think of in the NFL. I think that he's got a chance to do that. He's very, very special. He'd be the best corner in the class, the best receiver in the class if he was at either spot. And I don't think he would be close. So he's the best player in this class. It's not close. And I think that you owe it to yourself based on how unique he was to at least see what he can or can't do before you shut the book and say, no, we're not going to do that. We're worried. If a team, I'll tell you what, if a team comes in and says, absolutely not, you can't do this, you can't do that, they might have a problem because I don't know, like you said, Jamie, these guys like to talk. And I don't think with Travis, that talk is made up. I think he's a pretty confident guy for a reason. So I think I'd at least give him a shot to see what he can do.
Yeah. Again, you're listening to Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic. Nick, Brad Holmes is being kind of cryptic. I mean, he gave a cryptic kind of answer to a lot the reporters recently, in the trade rumors with he just said he made it a movie analogy. You're always trying to figure out what's going on. When a movie comes out and you go and see that movie, you're never seen that movie. That's that's excellent. So you're fine just watching the movie, whether the movie is good or bad. I mean, I don't know what that means, but all I'm saying to you is we're just trying to get a hint what you're looking at, honestly. But he's not going to tell us, Nick. He's keeping it close to the vest.
Well, I think that if I'm going to read that, because he is keeping it close to the vest, and then there's been years past where he hasn't been able to. Those guys, I've said this to you guys before, they don't know how to tell a lie, him and Campbell. They can't do it. They cannot. They don't.
Exactly.
So, if you ask them, if you hit on it and, they got to answer it, sometimes they'll just give you the answer. But, I think they're trying to play it close to the vest because I think they're in a good position to trade up or down. If a guy starts sliding down the board that they like, and we've seen them do this before, they've packaged assets and gone and got him. I think that would be my kind of default if, because there's just not going to be that many spots on this team. It's a playoff roster. There's not a ton of spots for rookies to come in and take jobs. So I'd almost rather max it out and see what I can do there. But the other side of that is Holmes has been so good in the second and third rounds that maybe they want to say, let's go down. And if a team wants to come up and draft one of those quarterbacks at 28, maybe we'll do that and go down and get an extra pick and then attack it that way. But the one thing that's hard to figure out here is that above all that is that you just don't know what position, they're going to look at first because they don't, obviously they need edge help and stuff like that, but there's not a, they have to do this in this draft or they're going to be in real trouble. That doesn't exist here. They've really don't have a whole lot of huge holes. So, I think that they're trying to keep some of that intrigue there. And I also think other GMs in this league, especially the younger ones, are a little afraid of Brad Holmes. He's done so well. If you let him wait and hang around, when he picks up the phone to call and trade, I think a lot of times well, what do you want? What are you coming up to trade for? Because maybe we'll just take the guy that you want, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think he's trying to play it close for good reason. We'll see if he can make it all the way through. As like I said, they're not good liars. They're too honest, I think, sometimes, which is kind of what you want to in some ways.
Hey Nick, did you see the media where they were saying Roman Wilson was going to be sent to the Detroit Lions and kind of rewrite the narrative on his rookie year? And his mom is refuting it on Facebook.
Oh, really?
She's like, this isn't right. I would know about this.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Why are you talking this? This is like fake news media, but they were spinning it up and putting it out there. And I was wondering if you know of any other, just on the topic of sometimes they're good liars or they like to hide their, their strategy. Have you heard anything else, any other noise like that where you can arguably say this is not happening? And that's why Roman Wilson's mom came out and she's like, no way, this isn't true. And she's posting it out there so people don't get confused about him leaving for Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, that's going on all over the place this year, frankly, because
crazy.
It's such a hard class to stack up. There is no consensus. So last year, we all knew that, we could have debated the order of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May until the cows came home, but we all knew they were going to be the top 3 picks in some capacity. We kind of knew what the top 5 or 6 were going to be last year. And a lot of years, that's kind of what So if you're a team in the teens, you sort of have a good idea of what your pool is going to be. This year, unlike most of those years, nobody really knows. And so the Giants actually, I feel like, have done a lot of this of late. They have met with Shedeur Sanders 20 times. And they just did it again. And every time they do this, I get questions from people around. They're like, oh, are they back in on? I'm like, I don't know if they ever were out or in. I don't know if they're just posturing to see if they want to, maybe we want to trade down, whatever it was. But they met him at the Shrine Bowl. They met him at the Combine. They met him separately of that at Pro Day and everything else. And I still don't think they're going to do it at 3. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where there's just a lot of smoke being thrown around all over the place. And like we were just talking about with Holmes, trying to stay close to the vest as best he can. I think that's what everybody is doing. You're still waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, and I think that's another domino that hasn't fallen. The Steelers are trying not to get mad and throw a public fit at Aaron Rodgers over the whole thing, but they need a quarterback too. And you can't overplay your hand here because there's just the consent. There will be no consensus stack here this year. It'll be all over the place. Some guys are going to have a player at 10 that everybody else has at 20 or whatever. So it's going to be pretty wild this year. Yeah. And I think that's kind of why a lot of that's going on.
And I think, when you look at some of Joel Klatt's early mock draft picks, he had Will Johnson at pick 6, which I find ironic, right? Will Johnson.
Yeah.
But he had him kind of higher up. And now we're seeing him kind of move lower. We're seeing Mason Grant move up. because he's a beast, Mason Graham. And then you've got like Colston Loveland in there, so those are my guys that I'm watching for, because obviously, I'm true blue Michigan. And so it's interesting to see how things shake out over time. And then at the same time, like you're saying, you see some of this stuff go out into the media, which I feel like could be like a red herring, or to throw other coaches off or general managers off. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting time, and it's a huge chess game right now.
Absolutely. And guys like Mason Graham, I feel like he's always been exactly where people are talking about him right now. Yeah. It's just one of those things where it didn't change. He's a top 5 player in the class. And Loveland is maybe the guy that I do think has improved in a lot of people's eyes over the last couple of months. I think once the NFL got into the tape on him, I think the default from a lot of people when the season ended was you look at Tyler Warren and he had 120 or whatever it was catches and had this amazing season. And I think a lot of people were just like, okay, well, he's the guy in the tight end class, and he's going to be the closest thing to a top 10 pick. But as you go on and you start back, and it's not just, when Colston was with McCarthy, because there's terrific tape there. But this past season, he made like 50 or 60 catches on a team that did not have a quarterback, that struggled to get the ball out in any situation. And he made some terrific plays. And there were some games in there where if Colston Loveland wasn't on the field, I don't know if Michigan could have moved the ball. So I think there's a lot of people that have come around on him. And it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up being the top tight end in the class. It would not. Like if he's a top 10 pick, I'm not going to be shocked at all. And if he's above Tyler Warren, I'm not going to be shocked, because I do think that there are teams out there that have him in front of Warren. Like Tyler Warren, like Jamie, you remember Dallas Clark, the Iowa guy. That's what Tyler Warren's like. Loveland is like a taller Sam Laporta to me. Like, I mean, he does everything after the catch. Awesome route runner. You never have to take him off the field. Like, no moment was ever too big for him. He was a contributor as a true freshman all the way through. I think he's fantastic, and I think he's going to be one of the rare guys in this class that has a pretty close to a consensus first-round grade from everybody on the board.
Again, you're listening to Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic. Nick, let's talk about Jalen Milrose and how he's climbing up. And now, I'm not saying he's a first-rounder. I'm not saying that.
Never know. But
he's damn near the third or second. They're talking second round now, Nick. I mean, he has really jumped up there. And he's got a cannon for an arm. Yep. He doesn't have control of that cannon just yet, but he's got a cannon for an arm. And, hey, he's the fastest quarterback in the that group. I'm just saying.
I think so. You remember when Trey Lance went real high there at 3 and he only had like 10 games of tape, and people were like, what's going on? Like, everybody wanted something to be what it was going to be with Trey Lance. It didn't happen. I think Milroe can actually be what people thought maybe that, it's going to take a minute. And you're going to need some time. And I would love to see him go to a team like Pittsburgh or somewhere that could set him and let him, take a year and grow into that role. Because I think in 2 or 3 years, if he continues, he's a hard worker. I think everybody said that about him too. I think in 2 or 3 years, you could end up having, if all things hit right and you have good coaching, good people around him, like a version of Jalen Hurts that is way faster and way more explosive as a runner. Like this guy, you could use Jalen Milroe in your offense right now as a package runner. I mean, like that's probably what will happen wherever he goes, more than it would be him starting games. But like in time, all the things that Lamar can do, all that stuff, like he can do all that. But he's just got to learn how to play the position. And it was one of those deals. I remember when Saban started him the last year, or the year that they made the playoff there. They sat him down after the first couple games because it was so all over the place.
He get it done.
Yeah, but then he fought his way back in, and they put him back in. So like he's a tough kid, and he's been through a lot. It's up and down with him, and he needs some time. And but I think that the traits there are so good that everybody would be fooling themselves if they think that he's not a top 40 player probably in this class somewhere in there, one way or the other.
Well, he is one of the best athletes there, Nick.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, and then Shedeur Sanders. We talked about this off. Now we're on. I mean, Shedeur Sanders, is he getting a bad rap because of his father?
Look,
he is.
Might be.
Look, everybody's talking about the Big 12 wasn't really big of a, hey, it's a power 4, right? It's in a power 4. I don't care what anybody says. Go look at what Josh Allen's when he played and where he played, okay? Don't give me that crap. I don't want to hear anything he played lesser talent. Shedeur Sanders played football. Either like him give him his football credit, or say, here's the negatives and give us the negatives, because really the kid, I think, honestly, he's one of the best 3 quarterbacks in there.
Oh yeah, he's the second best guy for me. I mean, and it's been that way the whole way through. And I think he's a first round pick. I just, like I said, with Cam, like I would be nervous about him on a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think, and I do think, Jamie, that there is a degree that he is kind of getting a bad rap, and some of that is his dad, but some of that is their own. I think his team around him hasn't helped either. Not working out this offseason, I don't think was a smart thing. I think he should have gone and done stuff at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he should have set out the Shrine Bowl. I don't think he should have made excuses of why he was sitting out, all that stuff. He's getting his jersey retired, which is a little, what's going on with all that? But like, whatever.
He won the Golden Arm.
Yeah, that was a little.
Dad.
Yeah, but it's his dad. So if you just look at the player, the situation that he was put into there, the first year at Colorado, they had nobody up front blocking for him, and he made plays all year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that consistently made plays when he was asked to do it all the time. Now, is it all translatable to the NFL? No. Is he going to need help? Absolutely, yes. Yeah. But Bo Nix is my best comp for Shedeur. I think that he's a calm guy when he's on the field. He's smart with his reads. He doesn't get stuck on stuff. He knows how to play the position. I think that's one thing that people don't talk about enough is his processing and ability to stand in there. And I think that that's why if you get him with a good QB coach, his feet and all those things that need to get fixed will get fixed. Got a good arm, and I think he's a better athlete than people give him credit for. I think that that's another thing. People say Deion, and they're like, well, he's no Deion. I'm like, well, no, he's not Deion, but nobody is Deion. He's a good athlete. He can get out of, tight spots and make plays, off platform, all that good stuff. I think he's a good player. I think he's a top 30 player and a guy that should be somewhere in the top half of the first round. But I just, it's like all the quarterbacks in this class. They're going to need help, and they're probably going to need some time and patience too. And with Shedeur, he is going to have to knock off some of the swagger stuff that's not necessary when he gets into an NFL locker room. They'll knock it out of him.
Right.
He'll get probably right. But like
he'll get checked.
Some of that will have to calibrate a little bit. Yes. And,
right.
But other than that, I don't think much of that is that big a deal. You don't hear anything about him having problems off the field. Like I think all he does is play football. I don't think he has like much else that he's into. So I think he's a quality player, and I think he's a good prospect. There's a lot made about it because of who his dad is, and that's just sort of how it goes.
Then you're listening to Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic. Nick, let's talk about the venue, the draft venue. Oh. You've gone from Detroit and what they've created, and I guess it's iconic. It's old.
It's gonna be a cool site. Yeah.
I mean, Vince Lombardi coached there, and
right.
You know me, I'm old and nostalgic about that too. But to a certain extent, I'm also not stupid and say, okay, this should be somewhere warmer at least.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know. I like the fact that they're moving it around because I think that we've seen it now in some cold weather climates, and the people have shown up.
They have.
And if you have been to an NFL draft live, be it in Detroit, which was awesome, Cleveland, Nashville, any of these places, it is so much fun. And you have, it's the draft. It's all hope. Everybody's happy. There's nobody there that's mad or upset. Like you don't see, like there was 750,000 people down there last year in Detroit. And I was down there all 3 days. I did not see one fight. I did not see one like outburst from people. They were all getting along. It's a great time. And I do like that they're moving it around to some, I mean, it'll be better in a warm place. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, it'd be better, if you had it down there in Miami or something like that. That'd be cool. And I'm sure they will in time, but I also like that they haven't ignored the northern cities. Like if they ever put it in Buffalo, Jamie, that would be a riot.
It's predicted.
Is it going to go to Buffalo?
That would be awesome. Because they're building that new stadium.
Yeah.
So with the new stadium comes the draft. So
I think it's great. They do a great job with that, and they do a much better job than you would think that they do because it's so many people coming in there. You'd think it's just going to be a huge mess, and it's not. They do a really, really good job with it. And they have ever since it started. I think it was a brilliant idea, whoever had it, to make this thing into a big party because it's been, people are just always dying for football, anything. And that's just a 3-day deal. And for the city, my God, all the money that comes in too. It's great stuff. So it'll be cool to see. I don't think they'll come close to the Detroit fan number though. There's no way they're going to get 750, whatever.
No, they're not breaking any records in Green Bay.
That's
what I'm saying about them. I just don't see it. They don't have the masses like that live.
No. I mean, all of the Upper Peninsula could come down, and it still wouldn't be enough. It still wouldn't be enough. But Jamie, there'll be people out there drinking their tall boys and eating their cheese, out there in the cold weather. They don't care. They'll be doing it. So I like it. I think Minneapolis would be a fun place to have it too. Like if they ever wanted to do it there, that'd be a cool spot. Even though it'd probably be pretty cold this time of year.
No, I think it'd be great, Nick. When we talk about the draft, they're not talking about any receivers outside Travis Hunter, but they're not. Yeah. You don't hear any names, big time names that are coming out that we look forward to. I mean, Colston Loveland, he's a good. I mean, they talk about the tight ends, but they're not talking about wide receivers. Are there not any good receivers that are coming out?
Yeah, it's not a deep class this year. We've gotten so used to seeing, these classes like last year and a couple years ago that were just so deep with talent all the way down to like the third round and into the fourth in some cases. And in like 2 years, you're going to see, a generational one with all these freshmen that we saw last year in college football being terrific. But I would say this: you got Ted McMillan, the big kid from Arizona, who I do like, and is a good player. And I think too much has been made about his 40 time and all that stuff. And there's also some other guys that are sneaky, really good, safe picks that are like Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State.
Right.
He's one of my favorite players in the draft. And he reminds me of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Ladd McConkey from last year that ended up going to Harbaugh with the Chargers. Always open, always on time. Emeka has been a contributor at Ohio State since I think his true freshman year, and that is one of the hardest places in the country to go be a receiver and stand out. And he's done it all the way through, no matter who the quarterback was. Just like one of the most dependable players in the draft. I feel like there's always guys like that, and I feel like he's one of those guys this year that nobody talks about. He's probably going to fall to the bottom of the first or maybe even to the second, and somebody is going to get like a total steal there. Luther Burden from Missouri is another one where he did not have a great year this year because his quarterback wasn't any good. But if you go back and you look at 2 years ago, he was awesome. And he's got a lot of the Deebo Samuel juice in there for him too. So there's some decent receivers at the top. Like the top 7 are really pretty good. After you get to that point, it starts to thin out a little bit. And I also wonder, Jamie, if the Lions might target some of these receivers based on, we don't know the long term with Jameson. We don't know if they're going to end up re-signing him to the big deal whenever he comes up in a couple of years.
Right. Yeah.
Could you try to get younger this year if a guy falls to you? Like, worse things could happen there. So some nice ones, but it's not like we've seen in years past.
And then I got to ask you this. I mean, everybody's going to best, and the draft better than I do. Best quarterback class draft in college, in pro football. Do you have a best one? Like
one of all time?
Yes, of all time.
Oh my God.
I got one for you.
What do you got?
Like the 2012 draft. Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin, Ryan Tannehill, Russell Wilson, Nick Foles.
What was the
Cousins.
Got some winners in there.
I mean, there's some guys there.
Wasn't Josh Allen, and Mahomes, were they in the same class? The 18? I think they were in the same one?
Yes.
That one, if it's not the same class and they were like in similar back-to-back, whatever it was, like that one stands out to me. And I mean, not to be recent either, but this last one with those guys might end up being one of them. Because
you're right.
Jaden Daniels was like out of this world good. Like, I mean, that playoff game and everything he did before that playoff game was absolutely phenomenal. And then also, like, Drake May survived and played pretty well on a garbage football team and is going to be better as he goes forward. It did not impact him. He kept playing. And Caleb Williams was the same thing. At the end of last year, Lions fans aren't going to like to hear this, but Caleb Williams looked very good at the end of last year, and I think he's going to be just fine. We haven't even seen JJ and Penix really yet.
Right.
And Bo Nix was great. So last year's class was really, really good. And I said all of last year, like, if you needed a quarterback and did not address it last year, you are going to regret it. And I think we're already seeing it. Giants, Saints, the Raiders had to make a move. Like, you should have done it last year. There were guys.
Right.
And you can't wait around forever for classes that have 6 or 7 like that. And that one, to me, might stand out in the long run.
Well, and everybody knows who the best class there was in NFL when it comes to quarterbacks. It has to be the 83 draft.
The Marino one, right?
It was Elway, Kelly, Ken O'Brien, and Marino.
Yeah.
I mean,
but like this last one, Jamie, I mean, you can
compared
squint in
to
10
it,
years and say you could have 3 or 4 guys like that. Yeah, it could happen.
Those guys could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, appreciate you. I know you're getting souped up for this.
Oh,
man.
yeah, we're ready to roll, man. It's been like 8 months of this, so yeah. Miz, what do you got?
I got one question for Nick because this is something that Nick and I can relate on quite well.
Okay, good.
Nick, does John Cena get number 17 on Sunday?
Hey, look, what I hope is that something ends up happening where, because I feel like he's going to turn back to a face at some point. I hope Cody turns on Cena and we get the double flip. So I hope that he doesn't, and I hope Cody screws him out of it and takes the. That's my hope for WrestleMania.
Okay, because
that's my hope.
It is WrestleMania weekend for those that celebrate.
And Easter, so whatever's more important to you.
Exactly, whatever's important.
And 420, so for some,
man, we got it all.
That as well too. It's like an entire weekend of celebration for some people.
What a weekend!
You never know.
Gotta love it.
For the radio folks, we got to go to a break. And Nick, we really appreciate you coming on. Nick Baumgardner from The Athletic. Look him up. He's excited. He's ready to go.
Roll.
We'll see if his picks are right. I can't wait for you. Hey, I'm reading up on you, man.
All
I got
buddy.
you.
I know.
Nick, appreciate it.
Yep.
We're going to go to a break.
I'm buying your new book.
Love it.
Angel of the Big House on the other side. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Clear on radio. All right. Let me go ahead and get this edited up. And...
I got to ask Angelique a question. Come on, bring her on.
Okay.
So I can ask her this question.
There we go. We got her.
Is Bryce Underwood getting heavy in the belly?
I know everybody's looking at that photo. I don't know. I mean, isn't it like I don't know?
Angelique, wait a minute. You know fat players, and don't give me that bull crap. Is he picking up weight? Is he gaining weight? It's good weight if it's good. You know what I'm saying? He's pressing weight and everything like that. But if he is getting chubby, we got to work on that. I'm not a chubby chaser, man.
Well,
phrasing.
What about that famous Patrick Mahomes photo from like a year ago? Everybody was like, "Look at the dad bod." Look at the dad bod. Well, I mean, I saw him like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and he looked fine. I don't know. I mean, I was like, is it the way he's standing? You know, when guys.
Right. Yeah, I get it. I
thought I read in the press that he gained 25 pounds, right?
Did he?
Didn't he put on some muscle?
I would think it's muscle. I mean, I don't know. I saw that photo.
I figured that the photo was docked anyway, so I'm thinking, nah, that ain't real.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Well,
maybe he just ate lunch.
That's true.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. I know everybody saw that photo and everybody zoomed in, and I'm like, oh God, leave the guy alone. I mean, from all accounts, he looks really good in practice, and that's all that matters.
That's right. I mean, yeah. Okay. You're right.
I'm trying to turn up. My mom's in the background. We're getting her a hearing aid, and Hallmark Channel is on like blasting. So I hope you can't hear it.
No, we can't hear that.
No, everything's fine.
We're good.
Even
Okay.
so,
all that fake lovey-dovey Hallmark channels.
Oh my God, she
I
loves
burned
it.
the cookies. Save me.
Good for her. Let her love it. That's good
I love
for her.
it.
So I'm sorry. I didn't know you were doing. I know you said you were doing YouTube. I just didn't have time to fix myself, so I apologize.
You look fine.
I know. I look fine.
I mean, if you want, I'll go into the break room, splash some mustard on my polo, make it better.
Would you do that for me?
I'll do that for you, Angelique. Come on.
You are great.
See, I don't care what anyone says. People think I'm such a jerk and
it's time for the weather. Miz, you got to give the weather report.
What do you mean I got to give the weather report?
You got to give the weather report. I want Angelique to hear the weather report.
We'll do it on the
Do
air.
your
How
thing,
about
Miz.
So
Do your
professional. No, I want to do
Do I
it
have
on
time to go check the door? Someone's ringing the doorbell. Do I have a
do it.
second? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay.
I'm going to miss the weather.
I actually heard the doorbell.
Miz, you gotta hold back until she comes back online here.
I'm gonna
She's got to
do it
hear
when
you do this. You're so good at this.
I'm gonna do it when we go get back on the radio.
Oh my God!
I'm not going to ask Siri or Google in the morning. I'm going to call you. Be like, give me the weather rundown. I'm always like, hey Siri, what's the weather today? I'm like, hey Miz.
I'm kind of curious when this rain is actually going to stop.
I'm going to be old as
night.
shit, and you send me this young picture of
Oh,
me.
Jamie,
Wow.
what are we doing for your big birthday? We got to do
stop.
something. No, for real. We have to do something. Like you're Mayor of Ann Arbor. Do we get like a blimp, like a helium balloon, and we put like happy?
We're not doing anything.
Yes,
we're
are.
Jamie's going to hide.
City.
Jamie's going to be hiding. He's going to be golfing. That's what he's going to be
all
doing.
Over.
Bowl.
Did I miss the weather?
Angelique, we were just talking about. Well, Jamie was just talking about how he has a big birthday coming up, and we want to help him celebrate.
Oh, is it 40?
It's a milestone.
Thank you. You're such a nice lady. I love you. You know, you're such a nice lady.
When's your birthday?
Don Colasar just sent me a picture. I'm like, why did you send me that young ass Jamie Morris picture?
Is it today?
No.
Oh.
It's D-Day. It's D-Day.
Oh, it is? Okay. Oh, my
Yes.
aunt was D-Day too. Okay.
See?
For Jamie, it seems fitting. Anyways,
Wow.
I know. I went there.
Ouch.
Are you surprised by that?
No,
you shouldn't be.
Not really.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. Anyways, we're coming back from break, so stand by.
Did I miss the weather?
No, I'll give it on the air.
Oh.
I don't listen. We gotta make sure everybody hears it at least. Everyone lives on their toes and fingers and everything.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone, Jamie Morris. Mac the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler. You got the MVP up in the house, Ms. Vanessa Pollack, and the angel of the big house,
Twinkle Toes.
Angelique Shingalis is joining us.
I think we need to get rid of Twinkle Toes. That's
What?
really several years old now.
How many years?
Several.
It is. It's
Yeah.
decades.
What?
No, maybe
No,
a
you're dancing
I'm
with-
joking. I'm joking. I
maybe
don't think
a decade, but not decades.
I mean, I remember Kendall was, she was really young then.
So are we.
We were young then. It's when we were young. Whatever. That being said, Angelique, this is to you, for you, and for me. The weather report for Saturday's Michigan spring game.
I'm not AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Missler with your game day forecast. Overcast skies, possible rain showers early on in the early part of the morning with a high of 63 degrees with winds coming out of the west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. If you're sticking around after the contest, you'll see mostly cloudy skies and a low of 39 in the overnight hours with winds coming out of the north at 10 to 15. And for your Easter Sunday, mostly cloudy skies early on, possibility of rain showers in the evening of Sunday, a high of 52 and a low of 45. This is not AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Missler for the Big 1050 WTKA.
It's almost like he has a radio voice.
He is so good, isn't he?
He is good.
Everybody loves that. They're like, make Miz do the way, make Miz do the weather, make Miz do the weather.
I only apparently have one job and one job only, and that job is to give the weather, and that's it.
No, it's good. Forecast sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like, hey, we're gonna get through it, Angelique.
I mean, it seems like the weather is starting to change a little bit, where the rain should start to kind of dissipate Friday night at the very least. So that's good. I mean, we may have some early morning, but nothing that should impact the game. But again, weather, just like science, changes each and every second. So
There you go.
we'll find out. Tune in tomorrow.
Speaking of science, Angelique,
Who do you have on Saturday?
how is it that we only have two quarterbacks that are participating in the Maize and Blue game? I mean, where's the third one? And don't we have more than three quarterbacks, right? I thought we had. Maybe I'm wrong. Explain it, please.
Well, I mean, Mikey Keene, the Fresno State.
I knew Mikey was down. I knew
one.
that's a man down. I got that.
But yes, they are carrying other quarterbacks on the roster. But I mean, I think you need to get these two the most reps. So I think that makes total sense to me at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, you know, Jaden Davis and Bryce Underwood. So, and you know, with Keene, I wonder if he'd been healthy, how much. I mean, I'm sure he would have. They were going to divide the snaps evenly, but this is a guy with a lot of experience, so I would have thought that those two would have had the abundance of snaps during spring ball. So it kind of worked out that way. Anyway, but it would have been nice for Keene, I think, to get in there and have some time running the offense. But he'll have plenty of time. I mean, that's why you have preseason camp.
Right, you're right, and I guess the whole thing is, so from a standpoint of what are you expecting and what are you looking for? And look, I get it. It's the spring game. We're not going to show the whole offense and everything like that. But what are you looking at and what are you looking forward to seeing out on that field?
I'm really looking forward to seeing the offensive line. I mean, to me, that's a primary concern, and definitely a couple of the receivers like McCauley, the transfer. I want to see what he can do. And then on defense, you know, Metcalf, and I want to see a couple of the linebackers. I'm really curious about what this, you know, behind Ernest Hausman and Barham, how that's going to look. So, you know, like a Cole Sullivan, see what he's up to. And definitely the running backs. I mean, see what Justice Haynes brings to this offense, and where Jordan Marshall is coming off of that bowl game. Sorry to see Ben Hall get in the transfer portal. I thought he was someone they really needed to have him as a pardon me, as their third back. But so I was sorry to see him transfer. But I think those are the key. I mean, obviously the quarterbacks, but I mean, beyond that, I really am. I want to see some of the offensive linemen and the, you know, they've had a couple guys transfer in. So just see where that group is. I mean, again, you don't see a lot. Like you said, It'll be very vanilla. And but, you know, I don't think we're going to learn a whole lot about Chip Lindsey from this, but you know, maybe you get a sense for where they are. And I think you can get a sense for where the confidence level is for the receivers as well. So that's a lot of things.
They seemed a lot confident. Donovan and Fred Moore seemed to be confident in their meeting with the media. I mean, they were.
Samaj. I mean, Samaj too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it was interesting. It was that day we talked to quite a few guys, and Ben Hall was still there, and you know, all the receivers are saying, "Oh yeah, it's wide open, you know, a lot more throwing." And then I asked Ben Hall, and he's like, "Well, it's really not that different. It's just everybody's executing better." So, I mean, I think that was one thing. You know, I asked Samaj. I mean, you had to look at last year with all the issues and inconsistencies at quarterback. How much did that affect the receiver group? I mean, it goes hand in hand. I mean, they did drop some balls, but he did sort of suggest that was a bit problematic for them. So now they've got some, at least we think, some consistency with Bryce and Jaden Davis. So I think that they are feeling more confident in the guys throwing to them. So. And they all seem to really like McCauley. I mean, I think they really think he's a good ad. I mean, it's good that they have a Nico Collins kind of body now in that group.
Again, you're listening to Angelique Shingalis from the Detroit News. Angelique, from a defensive standpoint, it's going to be vanilla again. I get it, and we don't expect. But from that defensive line, everybody's confident with that defensive line. They're more. I mean, they lose two of the best players to probably ever played the game at Michigan on defense, and yet everybody's confident along that defensive line, and especially those edge rushers. Everybody, they breathe about them. The linebackers seem to be, you know, in shape, and Brian seems to be happy with that. What about that secondary?
Yeah, I know that there's all sorts of comments out there about this is a really good group and a solid group. I need to see more. I mean, and no play on words, but it will help when they have Rod Moore back. Right. So I think they need that kind of, you know, I think he's going to bring that kind of Mikey Sainristil level of leadership in that group. Ernest Hausman too. I think those are going to be very important leaders for the group. But yeah, I think that there's still too many unknowns for me to say that this is a really upgraded defensive secondary. They definitely brought in a lot of guys, and they've got a rotation going, and they're trying guys in different spots, which is what spring is good for. But they have some proven talent. They have Zeke Berry, they got Jair Hill, so they have some known commodities. But you want to see some of these other guys, and I think that they have good pieces there, but just need to see more. And I was going to say, Jamie, you said the two top defensive players. I think Charles Woodson's going to call you and call you out.
Look, I'm sorry. I was talking defensive lineman, best that have ever played from the defensive line.
Okay,
hey, we're talking about best defenders. If they're the best defenders, yes, Charles Woodson is probably up there in the top.
Up there.
I said in the top one, Charles Woodson.
Okay.
But if you want to put 10 people together,
yes,
who would be your 5 from a defensive standpoint?
Oh my gosh, that's a tough question. I mean, you've got 3 of them right there, so that should be easy.
Right.
Don't put me on the spot.
So you only need 2. Tough. You only need 2. I can do that real quick. I can do that really quick.
Who are you going to say real quick?
Real quick. Mine?
Well, I would say like a Brandon Graham.
Mine is Glenn Steele. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Glenn Steele
are you talking about defensive line? Okay. Oh, you're talking defensive line. Okay.
Yeah. So it'd be Glenn Steele and my probably, good God.
What about Aiden Hutchinson?
Oh.
That's what I said. Yes, Aiden Hutchinson. I almost said Jabril Peppers. I mean, that would have been one too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I got you. I mean, you're right. But in terms of what we're going to see from the defense, I think we should know that the defense has been ahead of the offense.
Oh, yeah.
It's usually the case.
Right. Yeah.
And, they do like the consistency of having Wink back, and the staff has been together. They've gotten to know each other. But yeah, I don't think there's gonna be any surprises. I mean, from Wink's defense, but it's just gonna be the personnel is a little bit different, and but still very, very talented.
So what do you expect from this spring game? I mean, how did you watch the Ohio State or catch a glimpse of the Ohio State spring game?
They call it a spring showcase, I thought.
Right. And what they basically did was they would hold the guy. You know what I'm saying? They didn't tackle. And they wore those helmets on top of helmets. You know what I'm saying? With the cushy bags and everything.
Right.
I don't know what they're called, so don't get on me about that. I don't know what that is. I can only tell you
cushy helmets.
Yes, whatever. Do we see that in Michigan, or are Michigan going to tackle, or what are they going to do? Are they going to butt up, or, I guess it won't be what we call our traditional spring game, or will it? You tackle everybody except for the quarterback?
I think more of that, but I'm really trying to remember, when did we really see, like the last time we saw a spring game? I mean, I feel like I'm going back to like Lloyd Carr era.
Good one. That's awesome.
I mean, it's been a while, and I mean, but you get it. I mean, you've got guys who are already dinged up. I mean, probably guys starters right now. So you don't want to, you don't want to do that. You don't want to, you don't want to get more injuries. So, I mean, I think it'll be what it usually is. It's a scrimmage, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a taste, a feel for what this team is going to look like. And, but, it'll be very different in the fall, because, you're not going to have 2 assistant coaches coaching the game, and, Sharon Moore just walking around on the field and saying whatever he wants to the players to get them motivated. I mean, it's going to be, this is not like a game, but it's a really good.
How do you divide up? They have this winner gets a steak and the loser gets a hot dog. How do you divide up who wins and who loses if it's not, what I'm saying? If it's not separate or any. Look, I'm sorry. I told you when we started this, I'm very old, and I was on the first teams. Those first teams when Bo decided winner gets steak, losers get hot dogs, okay? And that's how we That's how it evolved. Now I'm asking you, okay, so how do you know who gets steak and how do you know who gets hot dogs? Outside, I saw the little blip that they put on Twitter about, the maize team, and the guys had the maize hats and the guy with the blue hat and everything. And I saw that the freshman tackle was the number 1 pick and everything like that. So I get it and I see it, but I mean, you're saying it's not really divided up. It's a scrimmage out there.
Well, it's a scrimmage. I mean, they will divide the teams, but it still feels like a scrimmage. And I think Michigan people call it a scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just called a spring game. I think that's just, in parentheses.
We've had you on for, couple of weeks. And I remember what you said about, bringing the team down to Detroit. I still don't agree with that. But what I do agree with you is maybe we do bring a team in and do a scrimmage. Nobody play, not have a game, but you have a scrimmage. You know what I'm saying?
Almost you bring some talk. I remember even like Rich Rod would talk about it all the time. He was a big believer in it back then, and there were a couple teams talking about it this spring. And it's just not allowed yet. I think it's a good idea. It keeps the players interested too, and not that they're not interested, but speaking of the draft, we were talking about. No, quarterbacks not included. Who would be your first pick? Is I took Dominic Zvada. I'm like, at least I know I'm going to get some points.
Right.
So, but I thought that was kind of cool that the freshman was the first pick. But who would you take? You'd probably take a running back.
Naturally, Justice Hayes. I mean, I saw the young man. I went back and watched his film and said, oh, yeah, I'm taking him. He scored the first touchdown. If it's not him, it's Jordan. Come on. This is I get it. We got 2 high-flying quarterbacks who likes to throw the ball. I just don't. I think the wide receivers and the defensive backs, that's going to be a war on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, I think what the running backs can do.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to see more of an emphasis on letting these receivers shine and the quarterback shine. And that's probably a good idea to get that confidence going into summer camp or whatever off-season conditioning. But yeah, I think what Haynes and Marshall can do. And I wouldn't be surprised right now if Marshall's ahead of Haynes. I mean, I think Jordan, the way he talked after spring ball and just the way he's carried himself, I think he's up for this competition. And I mean, I think they're 1A, 1B right now.
I completely agree with you on that point because he talked like he was. I know where I am in my position.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and there's nothing about it. I mean, look, and those two, I like what they had, and you're even right about Ben Hall. I think Ben should have stayed. And he had a point to prove. He wanted to show what he could do. He felt that I'm finally going to get my opportunity. Take advantage of it. But he felt that the window was closing on me, So maybe.
And I don't know what it is. I mean, but this is a money proposition now. I mean, guys look at the portal, how full it is. And these guys are looking for, more respect, more playing time and more money. So I think you're going to see that kind of movement, not just in Michigan, but we have seen it at programs across the country. And the money aspect is a big part of this now. And
what's your take on the Tennessee quarterback?
Oh yeah, I don't know. That was interesting. And now he's, he'll receive less at UCLA.
Yes.
I actually believe. I know some people said, "Oh, that's not true," but I kind of believe that. I think that would be a better offense to come up in than the Tennessee. So I think that was probably a good move on his part. Now I've heard people say, "Well, there's no state income tax in Tennessee. What's he thinking? California, getting that kind of money, less
that's
money."
True.
But I do think this is maybe a decision for his future. It's just my hunch, but it's been interesting to watch that whole thing develop.
Yeah, and the fan base getting involved and everything like that, and how he became a villain overnight.
Yeah.
Angelique, And that's what I said to Miz the other day. I said, look, there's a big difference about the NFL and college football. You lose that fan base. I mean, and I think Josh Heupel, the coach, he had to make a decision. And he felt that the guy abandoned his teammates.
Yeah.
He chose money over his teammates. So he had to make an example of him. And, it had to be done. Look, if the kid could have came back and said he apologized or something like that, that could have happened too. I didn't know what I was doing. I was listening to crazy people about business. I want to be with you guys. I love you guys and all of that. He could have solved that problem too. But instead, he just let it reeled out of craziness.
It did. And the one thing about that too, you're talking about Josh Heupel is I believe it was a Syracuse coach yesterday or the day before. You're seeing coaches becoming a little more frank about. Well, we really like this kid. We're sorry he's got, but it is about money now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, you should be honest about it. Don't sit there and don't say something bad about the kid.
The wide receiver did get a lot more money out of Syracuse, and I mean, when you sat and thought about it, if that's what you wanted,
right,
go get the money.
Go get it, right. I don't think anybody argues with that, and I don't think it's wrong for the coaches to talk about it that way or the players. I mean, I just be upfront about it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Angelique, I know obviously spring game and, everything football wise has kind of been taking center course for the most part, but there's a lot happening this weekend in Michigan sports. Obviously, one of the big reasons why, or at least the reason why the university is not airing the game on Saturday is there's a big lacrosse game over at the U of M lacrosse field afterwards. But I want to get your thoughts on the milestone that Bonnie Thole pulled off earlier this week, getting win number 100 in her career as a head coach with the win over Rutgers as softball heads down to Columbus this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, that was great for Bonnie. I mean, year 3, and I think they're on a 4-win. They've got 4 wins, 4 straight wins. They're 31. I wrote it down, 31-12. I want to make sure I got the record right. But now it looks like they're going to be playing a doubleheader in Columbus on Friday because the weather looks so bad on Saturday. So they're doubling up on Friday. And, I think for Bonnie, it was a great achievement. And she's not going to reach Hutch numbers, but, that's pretty significant. And I think things are definitely working in the right direction now. I mean, you've got Conway has had 8 home runs in the last 10 games, 10 games. And I think, I think they're starting to click at the right time. And, but that was really an important milestone for sure for Bonnie, and glad to see it for her.
I know it'd be remiss, of course, because I know Jamie wasn't going to mention it unless I brought it up. Tennis closes out their regular season on Saturday, 1:00 over at the tennis facility right off of State Street. It's okay, Jamie. I got you.
I had the tennis right here.
I got it. I got you, Jamie. I got you covered. I know the last time that we had talked, they were coming off of, a long win streak that again kind of dates back all the way to the trip to North Carolina. And they just continue to keep rolling with, a big win yesterday down in Columbus for the road finale, so to speak. But they close out Saturday with Michigan State. Just seems like things just keep clicking for women's tennis right now.
It really does. And I know Jamie's a hater, but that's okay, Matt. I'm glad you asked about it.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I know you're not, Jamie. But, I mean, they're number 3. They're ranked number 3 now. And they're playing Michigan State to round out the regular season. I think they beat Michigan State 24 straight matches. So, I think that they should notch that next victory. And I believe they would clinch their 3rd straight Big Ten championship and go into the Big Ten tournament as the number 1 seed. So this is a very potent team. one senior in their lineup. So they've got a lot of really good talent. And is this the breakthrough year where they really make a run at a national championship? It could be. But this is a really, they're just a really sound in every facet. So, I mean, hey, what about these women's sports at University of Michigan? So pretty significant.
Yeah. I was going to have two things, but timing wise, one last thing, at least on my side of things, your thoughts on the retirement of longtime field hockey coach Marsha Pankratz, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those sports that we didn't cover much, and most people didn't cover. And I think I always think about the number of great coaches that Michigan women's athletics have had. And you start with Carol Hutchins, and now Marsha and Bev Plotky, obviously. And it's what a career she's had. She had the first national championship at Michigan, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, no softball, but softball was 2005. So, and then watching the tournament, the Final Four, the national championship match a couple of years ago. I mean, they had a real chance to win it again.
Right.
And she's churned out just terrific teams and winning records, and she's going to stay on as an advisor to Ward Manuel. So she's not leaving. But yeah, I mean, what a great career. And it's just a shame that a lot of these great coaches don't get the acclaim, at least, local media wise, because they work so hard in the shadows of football and men's basketball and even women's basketball and men's hockey, obviously. But she's had a great career, and I'm sure they'll miss her, but at least she's going to be right nearby.
Angelique, as always, we appreciate you coming on and being live on the M Zone.
Yeah. I'll brush my hair next time. So
good. Listen, I gave an out and said I had a graphic ready in case you were just joining on the phone at least. So try to make things accommodating for everybody. That's all.
I appreciate that, not AccuWeather, Matt. I really appreciate that.
That's Angelique.
Well, happy Easter for those who are celebrating.
Yeah, happy Easter. That was Angelique Shingalis. We're going to go to a break, and on the other side, we got Clayton Safety coming on from On 3 on the Wolverine. You better get your things right, because Clayton, well, he did good with you guys last week. You guys, I listened. Yeah, I listened. You guys did good.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, great.
Speaking of things that are great, Jamie, how are your chompers doing right now? I know you said you got a little work done today over to our friends at DGY.
We're back in the what do you call it, the laboratory, working on some things and different things like that. But other than that, everything was great, and it went well. As I said, she came up with a game plan. She gave me the game plan, and I'm following the game plan. I'm ready to go, and we're going to do some things. And you know what? She'll keep that great smile going on my face. I'll tell you that. And it was just good to see Dr. Zarin this morning, and look forward to seeing her more often right now, so we can get some things taken care of. But it's dgydentistry.com. Look them up and set yourself up, because if you're having any dental problems like I did, go in there and they'll make a plan for you also. They'll take care of you the right way. DGY Dentistry, they're not just dentists, they're part of the neighborhood. We need to go to a break, and we'll be right back. We got Clayton Safety on the other side. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050. Day sucks.
Clear.
Oh, was I allowed to say that? I was so excited.
Well, I knew when he went like this, we were off the air. But we are live.
You got to say, and Ryan Day sucks. Go blue or go home.
Okay.
We'll make sure we'll do that for the.
You gotta cue me, and then I'll throw it in there.
We'll do it for the next one. How about that?
Perfect.
Eric Black.
E Boogie.
What do we got for Safety Day?
Spring ball. Ask him about it. I mean, he's into it. You can talk about
That's what we talked to him about last week, so we can probably cover maybe some new stuff.
Yeah.
Or same, you know.
No, you look. I got you.
I'm sad I'm missing the game Saturday. Man.
Oh, you'll be fine. It's not you're
And
not
I
missing
gotta
the
wait.
game.
Some people are talking about videoing it and putting it on YouTube. Not like major networks. Like,
Hey, are you gonna put it on video? I mean, gonna try to video it and put it on YouTube?
I know a guy that would. Stallions.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
There he is.
How's it going?
Hey,
How
Clayton.
you doing?
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Yeah. First time on the stream. So
Yeah. We were just talking about the spring game and that they're not airing it, obviously, for strategic reasons, but that some people may be like live streaming it and putting it on their personal YouTubes or whatnot. And I got to find somebody because I am not in town. I'm actually in Louisiana right now. So I'm going to miss the game. And I'm so sad because I usually go. Is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's going to be stopping anybody. I mean,
right. It's not going to be mainstream media where like thousands and thousands of people can watch it. But I think certain people are probably for that same reason, right? That others can see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see. They can put it right next to our live stream right now. What do you want to watch?
If someone really wanted to do it like that, I'm sure they could. Yeah, even personally,
don't put me in that
because I'm gonna get. I can already tell if I try to do that, I'm gonna get myself.
Everybody's gonna get you. Gonna get you in trouble, Clayton.
We can't, but some fan could.
Well, you're being live streamed right now on Facebook, Insta, and YouTube. And Matt's favorite person, Elon, did not allow us on X. So
I still don't know how. Again, I don't know how Sam can do it with his. But we can't do it with the afternoon show or with Jamie. What the hell are you watching?
Blake, Jaden.
Oh, I know.
And Bryce throwing at the goalpost.
The crossbar challenge. Okay. I just kept hearing that wrong answer thing. I'm like, are you watching an episode of?
No episodes.
I wasn't sure because it's only that one show that's why can't I think of his name? Not Robert Downey Jr., but
hey, is what you call it? Bill Belichick losing his quarterback?
He might be losing his mind.
One of them. I don't think he was going to start, but
so he knew he wasn't going to start.
I think so. Yeah, it's hard to tell though. There's too many guys in the portal. Yeah, no, I mean Notre Dame's quarterback.
Where are these quarterbacks going? I mean, where are the players going if they don't get picked up? Did they go back to Did they go back to their old school or say I'm sorry? You know.
I know. I don't know. Yeah, I saw the Notre Dame kid is in. Yeah, Steve Angeli or Angeli. Angeli, yeah. He's the one that remember he came in that was it the Georgia game or?
Yeah.
Yeah. He backed up what's his name? Riley Leonard. Which I'm surprised his name hasn't really been brought up with the NFL draft stuff, honestly. He can run. Yeah. And I think that's one of the pros that he has with him is that he's a mobile quarterback at least. I mean, not like a Lamar Jackson mobile, but like like a Trevor Lawrence mobile. Like he can get out of the pocket at least. Josh Allen mobile. He doesn't have the arm though. But yeah. That's why I kind of downgraded more of a T-Law kind of guy more than anything. Like someone that he was good in college.
Clayton, so do you think Mr. Underwood gained a few pounds? I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see him with the shirt off before, so I can't say, but it's happened to the best of us when we go to college.
Right. I got you.
But
Well,
also, I don't mind a
put on 25 pounds. They were saying that he put on muscle. So I feel like he just ate lunch and people exploded it all over the media like Hollywood does Jennifer Aniston.
No, I mean, look, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I thought the kid looked good.
I know you're not. I know you're not. But everybody in the media is, and you're regurgitating what you heard and what you saw.
The media is going crazy,
Yeah,
so I got to
right.
talk. When I get a media partner on, I want to say, Clayton, what do you think about Mr. Underwood?
I don't think it's the worst thing for a quarter. Like, people were doing this to Mahomes a year ago.
Yes.
But if you're going to be taking a lot of hits, it's not the worst thing in the world, I don't think, for a quarterback. And we know he's athletic, so I'm not worried.
Yeah.
And the season's in 6 months. Like, people, I mean, Jamie, like,
I know
during fall camp, you're not the weight you're going to be during the season.
I get it. And trust me, you lose so much weight in the summertime.
All right. Stand by, guys. We're coming back on radio.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler. You got the MVP, Miss Vanessa Pollack, and joining us right now, I see him, Clayton Safety from Onfree, Michigan. Clayton, I say, how you doing and what's going on? I got to ask you from this spring game, and I know we're not going to get all the answers we need, but what are the answers that you're looking for when you watch this game?
Yeah, I want to see, what they show offensively, what's different. And like you said, we're not going to get all the answers because they're going to probably keep things pretty basic. But I think we'll see some general differences between the last offense and this one under Chip Lindsey. I mean, I probably should have just led by saying Bryce Underwood because that's what everyone's most excited to see. He's the biggest draw on Saturday, and the game's not going to air on TV for 8 days on tape delay April 27th. So, if you can make it on Saturday and you're a big enough fan, I think you're coming to the big house. And Bryce Underwood's a top reason why. I think this could rival the 2015 spring game when Jim Harbaugh was just hired as head coach in terms of attendance because of the quarterback factor here and because of the television factor or lack thereof. So just emerging guys on each side, it is hard to judge. You split the team in half. So the line of scrimmage is tough to evaluate because you're not playing next to guys that you're going to be playing next to in the fall. But a lot of different things I think you can glean. And then I probably, sometimes we get a little swept up in it. Last year it was like, all right, Cole Sullivan's going to be great right away. And, I think he's going to be a great player, but guys like that, Breon Ishmael ends up transferring to Purdue, didn't really play much last year, so I'm probably going to fall victim to that, but screw it. That's why football is, fun. This is a fun
Clayton,
job.
Everybody waits for these big plays, right? They want to see the big plays. And I know quarterback is the big deal this year just because we spent $10 million on him. So I completely agree with that assessment. And I think we want to kind of see quarterback to quarterback a little bit compare, that's going on. But you wait for these big plays. Like, who are they throwing to? Who are the receivers? Like Freddie Moore, I think we talked about last week, made that big catch and ran 75, whatever he ran for. And that was a huge deal. And we expected him to be this like showcase wide receiver. And I think he had like an okay season. I don't think it was like this big to-do season. I don't think it was terrible, but we're kind of waiting for that, right? Like everybody waits for those big plays. And so who do you think are going to be the receivers? Who do you think are going to maybe make a pick six or something like that? Or who do you think these quarterbacks are throwing to that's going to kind of keep people captivated?
Well, I think you make a great point because everything that happens in this game means that something happened to the other side of the ball. If there is a pick six, then it's on the offense and people are panicking about that, even though they're a little bit excited about the DB that made the play or whoever it is that makes that play. If there's a deep ball touchdown from Bryce Underwood to, let's say, Frederick Moore or Donovan McCulley, the Indiana transfer wide receiver who has probably received the most praise this spring from teammates and coaches, then it means that some defensive back messed up or whatever it is. So it's kind of that conflicting feeling. I think that's what makes spring games interesting because, we are getting a showcase. We're getting to watch this team, but you also leave, with still a lot of questions, probably more questions than answers, but it's a good experience for them to improve. So But I think, Donovan McCulley, who I just mentioned, I think I would put him near the top of the list in terms of guys who could make plays like that. Defensively, Jair Hill, they talk about him maturing, taking the next step maybe. He's only a redshirt sophomore this year, so this is kind of the year maybe he should break out more. Maybe last year he was, shouldn't have started if they had a better option, then they would have gone with somebody else. But guys like that in the defensive backfield, and then Shamari Earls, the freshman corner, I'm really excited to watch. There will be another corner wearing number 2. Will Johnson's gone, but he's going to look the part. I think he's a really big physical, player that I think is going to really play right away for this team.
Again, you're listening to Clayton Sayfie from at the Wolverine on 3. Clayton, what is Sharon Moore? If you can and I want you to get into Sharon's head. What's Sharon looking for? What's he trying to do? I know that they had the draft and they made the players. You got a maize hat and you got a blue hat. What is he trying to do with the team and try to establish with his? What is he trying to make the name for the team? We're a tough group of guys. We're going to get after one another. I mean, look, I've already said, as long as they get through without getting hurt, that's the most important thing now. I mean, you don't want any of your key players to get hurt. You don't want anybody to get hurt, but you know what I'm saying? You want to get through this last spring practice, this spring game as we call it, and you want to showcase to the fans, because it's a reward to the fans. You get to see what's coming in the fall. But what's Jerome trying to get through?
I think it's a reward for the fans, and it's also a good experience for the players who haven't seen a lot of time in regular games to actually get out there, feel what it's like to be on the field in the big house when fans are there. So it kind of works both ways. And to that point, I don't know that in your point about the injuries, I don't know that we're going to see too much of, a lot of the starters. I think last season, the guys who were really cemented as starters played about a series or 2 series.
Okay.
And that game kind of started slow. So it was really 8-9 snaps, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? We know what Ernest Hausman is going to look like, and Jayshawn Barham and Derek Moore, guys like that on the defense, and then some guys on offense, same thing. So I think he's probably looking to develop maybe that next wave of guys and see what he has there. Knowing Sharon Moore, physicality is something he's going to want to see, even if they are trying to avoid injuries in this game. So just kind of that, develop your depth, make sure that you're, establishing the identity that you want. And I think all the little things too, right? The quarterbacks managing things at the line of scrimmage, pre-snap penalties you want to avoid, things like that, just so they can show that, hey, we went through 14 spring practices before this. We've tightened some things up. We've improved. We've gotten good at the fundamentals, but now we're building on kind of the principles of the offenses and the defenses, systems and everything else. So I think it's all those things. I think a head coach probably enjoys this game quite a bit because they stand behind the action, and he's going to be the commissioner, and he'll probably implement some replay reviews and things like that, just like the old Jim Harbaugh did before him.
I got a great question, Clayton. Do we see Dominic Zaveda kicking for 60?
From 60?
I don't know. They're talking about him. He's kicking pretty good. So that's what I'm talking about with the captivating. Is he going to do this? Can he do it?
Right.
I don't know. He's always good for the points, but how do you see that playing out?
I would love to see it. I think that he has that range. They talked about him making from 60 this spring already. And something important to note when you talk about this spring game format, field goals, they said are going to happen, and punts are going to happen. Punts will be fair caught automatically, and you can't block the punt and you can't block the kick. So he's not going to have guys rushing in, or maybe they'll put a hand up or something like that. But he's got a chance to make a really long one if they want to do that with him.
That's what I'm saying. That's why some of the rules are slightly different for this game. With the quarterbacks and stuff, they don't want people to get injured. I get it, right? But that's why I'm like, oh man, it's all over the press, and I'm hoping we see some of that.
I think it's possible. Yeah,
we got behind Moody the same way. Everybody was like, oh, this guy's an all-star. So I don't know. I like to see Zaveda.
And knowing Zavada, I feel like he's going to want to do that because that's just the type of kid he is. Sharon Moore was talking last year about how like he would hear this voice behind him on third down sometimes when they're like near midfield and be like, "Put me in, let me kick." You know, he's kind of that ambitious guy that. So he's going to be trying to convince those coaches. Yeah.
Again, you're listening to Clayton Safely from at Michigan on 3. Clayton, when you Mike DeBoer, I don't know if you know Mike DeBoer and everything like that, but Mike DeBoer was the offensive coordinator under Lloyd Carr, and that 97 year that they won the national championship. That being said, he passed away recently, and actually, you confirmed. A lot of people had contacted me about that, and I'm like, "Can you confirm that?" Because I'm not going to say that on the air. You can't confirm that. You were the one that confirmed it for me, so I just wanted to thank you for that because I did not know that.
That was Angelique.
That was Angelique. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And
that's where we got it from, at least.
Okay. Well, then I got to call Angelique and thank her.
Well, I just don't want to take credit for anything like that. Yeah.
No, I was looking at your line. I was in there under you, so it was confirmed. So I want to thank you for that. But that's why I asked, did you know Mike DeBoer? Because Mike DeBoer was a hard butt guy. He was a guy that, stayed on his team constantly. And they ran it like the old Michigan way they could. They run the ball, and then would throw it every now and then, And it was always running that waggle pass to the tight end over in the flat. And I used to laugh about it, like, why does that work all the time? And he says, because we run the ball well. And I'm like, okay, it works for me. That being said, things haven't changed pretty much, Clayton. I mean, hey, we're still running the ball, and people have to stop it, and that gives us the opportunity. Do we have the quarterback? Keep that opportunity going.
Yeah, well, first of all, I didn't know Mike, and my heart goes out to his family and him. Obviously, very, very sad. And yeah, you hear great things about what he did, and he was the offensive coordinator here on staff here, I think 3 different times, and won the national championship, as you mentioned. I think he has a ridiculous record. Like Michigan's record when he was the OC was like 50 something and 11 or something like that. I wish I had that number up right now, but something crazy. So he obviously had a great career, at Michigan, not at Michigan, and it was that identity that the guys like him, were able to establish here. That you experienced as well. And I feel like it's always going to be like that. And Sharon Moore thinks a similar way. You got to be able to run the football, be physical to set everything else up. And, I think that one of my big question marks on this team is the offensive line. So excited to see that on Saturday, how they've progressed. And then I think you got good running backs. I think, you got willing blockers at tight end, wide receiver, all that. And I do think you have the quarterback. There's going to be some growing pains with Bryce Underwood back there if he's the starter this fall. But short term and long term, I think he's going to make major strides and become a great quarterback here. And just think of like a year ago or 6 months ago, or whatever it was before he committed. You didn't really know what the future held at that position here. That was a struggle last year. And the fact that they're in this spot now with this much excitement around what it can be is really, really exciting.
Hey, Clayton, you were real close on that. It's 52-11 for Mike DeBoer regular season.
Nice.
4-1 postseason. So 52-11 is no small feat.
Yes, that's incredible. That's incredible. And I have heard so many good things about him. So very, very sad. Only 69 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, let's move over to the round ball. Danny Wolf says he's going to stay in. Clayton, what? I mean, he still has time he could go to the combine to find out what he needs to find out. If whatever he finds out, if he doesn't like it, he can still come back to Michigan, right?
Yeah, he has till May 28th at 11:59 p.m. So that's the exact time that he has until, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I feel like and they've expected this for a while, and I think it's one of the reasons why we've seen so many additions to the front court for Michigan in the transfer portal this offseason. So I think that's it for a career at Michigan from Danny Wolf, and what a memorable year, to be a one-year guy. And really, he's he's different than a lot of one-year guys, and because he grew up a Michigan fan. He almost walked on here and played for Juwan Howard, and then ends up coming here after 2 seasons at Yale, and is just like this kind of unicorn of a player at 7 feet tall. So a heck of a season from him. We all saw the emotion from him after the loss to Auburn, talking about how it was the honor of his life to play at Michigan. For a group of guys that you're going to lose a few of them after year one, right? Danny Wolf, Vlad Golden, Reuben Jones are the 3, and then certainly some guys who transferred out with eligibility. That group endeared themselves to the Michigan fan base quite a bit, mostly with what they did, turning things around from what the year prior was. So it was a lot of fun watching Danny Wolf play, a couple frustrating turnovers here and there, but all in all, a heck of a one-year career at Michigan, and did good things at Yale too.
You take those turnovers, right? I mean,
yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
he was incredible. I mean, he did some things, and look, he's first. I mean, I don't know if he's 7 foot, but I mean, I'll lie like the rest of us. You had 2 7-footers playing. I mean, they were playing together, and they made it work. And people around the world said that would never work. There's no way you could have 2 7-footers on the same floor dominating the same space, and they did.
Yeah, and it all started when, you're right, because Dusty May flew out to New Haven, Connecticut, where Yale is, and tried to convince Danny Wolf of this about a year ago, right? And he said, I want you to play next to this guy, Vlad Golden, we have coming from Florida Atlantic. And then Danny Wolf said other schools were telling him, hey, that's not going to work. Come play for us, be the center, all these sorts of things. But Danny Wolf believed in Dusty May's vision, and it speaks to Dusty May how incredible of a talent evaluator he is and how he can fit these pieces together on the fly. And those are 2 really important things in today's college basketball. Can you evaluate talent and character on the fly? Can you figure out how to fit the pieces together once you get them? And, it's a test case for this. And Danny Wolf gave a great quote to ESPN as he declared for the draft. You're talking about how that was game-changing, playing next to another 7-footer, expanding his game, showing that he could be a playmaker at 7 feet tall. I think he's 7. We'll learn at the combine, Jamie, exactly what he is.
The only reason I say that, Clayton, and I'm not trying to challenge you or anybody else, but I got a lot of basketball friends through my years, okay?
Yep.
And I'm not giving out their names. I'm just saying, James, I'm 6'11". I said, okay. I can see Danny. I'm looking at him in his eyes. I'm just saying to you, how tall do you think he is? And I said, well, in the program, it says it's 7 foot. That's
right.
all I'm saying. So
we'll learn at the combine for sure, with shoes and without shoes. But either way, like him at that size doing what he did was pretty awesome. And I think he's got a good future in the NBA.
Clayton, you make an excellent point, though, when you talk about how well Dusty May puts together the chess pieces, because that is going to be key going forward, especially with some of these like Trey Donaldson departures and others. You've got departures to the NBA. So, I think we're really reliant on that. And he certainly proved himself to come in his first year and do what he did. So now we've got this big weight on our shoulders, right? Again, like, okay, is he going to take us to the Elite 8 this time? Or how far can we really go? But he definitely proved that he can play the chess game and the talent war and the recruitment war and the whole mind game and like the strategy of it. So I thought you made like an excellent point there, because that is absolutely pivotal in this, especially when you're a brand new coach coming in.
Is this the number one, what do you call it, NIL class that's coming in transfer portal class again as last year was?
Yeah.
I mean, that's you may not have to add this many. They've added 4. Last year it was 6, and then you have 3 freshmen this year, also 3 freshmen, and then we'll see what they add. I don't think they're done yet, but 100%, right? I mean, you might not have to do that every year, but it's at least going to be a few, and Dusty May's proven he can pick the right ones. And that's even going back to FAU. He picked these guys. Vlad was a transfer. The other guys he got out of high school. Look at Elijah Martin, played in the national title game for Florida.
Yep.
You saw John L. Martin make it to the Elite 8 with Arkansas, or was it the Sweet 16? So he had guys all over the country spread around. Nick Boyd, one of his former players, will be at Wisconsin next year.
But that's the secret sauce. That's the chess game. That's what he does well. And it's so fascinating because you saw what he did at Indiana, but then you also look at him when he's on the court, and I go to all these games and he's just like this tiny guy in the middle of this circle of like giants, right? And a lot of times when you see these coaches, they have played before, like big time played, NBA, like look, the Jawan Howards, right? Like, and he's just this small guy in the midst of these giants. And man, does he have the right mind for it. So I'm just glad that he decided to stay. They extended his contract. They did all that because I think we've got really high hopes in our future, and it's going to be a really exciting season ahead.
It's Chris Ballas, my coworker there, who I know is a guest on your guys' show, called him a babyface assassin. So
that sounds just like Chris.
That could stick for him too. I'll start that.
That is so something Chris would say.
Babyface assassin. I love that.
Yeah. No, I mean it fits. It fits, and he's kind of that silent killer a little bit. With the way that he's working the portal and the way he recruits, and then the way he puts teams together, and he's more competitive probably than he lets on too.
I totally see that. You're right.
Clayton, we're 1 week out from the NFL draft. I think everyone's pretty confident that Jacksonville is probably going to be taking Mason Graham. Who do you think the next Wolverine taken off the board will be after Mace?
Good question.
I love Mason Graham, and I feel bad for him that's the only projection we're seeing. It's kind of a boring projection, but I'll be rooting for him. The next guy off the board, it's interesting. Will Johnson seems to have fallen a little bit just because of the injury concerns. Maybe Colston Loveland. He's starting to pop up higher on some of these mock drafts, and I was kind of hoping he would slip maybe a little bit later and go to Jim Harbaugh. I feel like that'd be a perfect fit. He's the one that found him anyway, and him and Jay Harbaugh from Gooding, Idaho. Probably him and then Will. And if they can get 4 in the first round with Kenneth Grant, that would be a Michigan record and quite the feat. That would be awesome. But yeah, I saw a 7-round mock draft from The Athletic the other day that has 7 guys going. So pretty good group, and that was without Donovan Edwards, who I think could end up in there. So they could push 8 or 9 if they really have a couple more of those late round picks.
Clayton, great having you on as always. Hey, we're live. We get to see one another now. You see how that works?
Love it.
Hey, Jamie, I get to say one thing.
Yes,
Clayton, last week we were talking about the Masters, and you said Scheffler, and I said Rory, and Rory won. Yes.
Great pick. That was what a Sunday at the Masters. That was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, Rory tried to give it away. He was trying to give it away. Bryson didn't want it. You see, he didn't want it. Nobody wanted it. So Scotty didn't want it. I'm like, what?
They wanted to give the people what they wanted. They wanted more golf. They wanted more of the pageantry that is the Masters. They wanted more Augusta.
Justin Rose choked.
We wanted the next Grand Slam.
He would have won that damn thing. I'm just telling you.
Got the Grand Slam and Rory.
Congrats on that pick. I'm happy for you.
You were right. Congratulations. Good job. She did. We were texting back and forth, and she was like, "Oh, he's got it, James." I'm like, "He's a choke artist."
He choked and won
You're right.
in the span of 20 minutes.
He did. Clayton, again, thank you very much. That's Clayton Safey from at Wolverine on 3.
Thank you so much.
We're going to go to a break, and we got question of the day. Right. I mean, where are you going to watch the spring game? Are you going to watch the spring game live and come to Ann Arbor tomorrow, or are you going to wait a week and 1 day, and see what it's like? Because I ain't sending no video to anybody. I'll send you a picture.
I don't like that, Jamie. I got to find some bootleg YouTube guy at the game.
Well, there'll be somebody there. There'll be somebody there.
I was going to say, why don't you call up one of the people from like the Alumni Association to video it for you, and you just lop on. There's got to be some people that do have like Facebook groups or whatnot to do that. It ain't gonna be me. It ain't gonna be me. I'm not.
Gonna be me.
I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna go because social battery.
Social battery.
Yeah, social battery.
Social battery, J-Mo. That's what he said.
Well, then I've got things I've got to take care of before Lil Broski comes into town next week. So.
Oh, okay. See, man, you got family coming in town.
Yeah.
Or are you staying home celebrating the Easter weekend? I mean, there are people who may be celebrating the Easter weekend that may not come to Ann Arbor.
That's right.
I'm actually leaving Ann Arbor right after the spring game.
Where are you headed off to?
Yeah, where are you going, Jamie?
Going to Grand Rapids.
You're not going to stick around and watch Michigan baseball. You're not going to stick around and watch Michigan lacrosse try to win a Big Ten championship over Ohio State at 4:00.
You know what,
on
man?
Saturday?
You convinced me. I'm going to stay Saturday, and I am going over to the lacrosse team because I want CJ to see every sport.
Yeah, that's
so
Big Ten
he
title.
goes, we can throw balls, Dad.
Yeah, Big Ten title. Hey,
to pick football.
Big Ten regular season crown is on the line on Saturday between Michigan and Ohio State. So that should give a little gumption to when you leave the big house.
I like it.
Head on down State Street, catch the lacrosse game.
I am. It's right down the street. Right down the street. I love it.
There you go.
You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050. What the heck? Oh, okay.
Vanessa, this is the part where you drew it.
Ryan Day sucks. Go blue or go home. I can't believe you guys love me.
I'm gonna try. I got that stuff, Vanessa.
What stuff?
The good stuff.
The good stuff?
I bought the good stuff. It's coming to the house.
The good stuff.
I'm kind of
like ice cream?
No, the stuff that Phil Mickelson's drinking. Remember, I sent that to you.
That healthy drink. The health food drink.
It makes coffee healthy drinking.
It makes
me
coffee
regular.
healthy.
You say?
You heard me. It makes me regular.
No, I did not hear it. I didn't hear it. Jamie's like, I'm out. I'm out.
Exactly what he's saying. It's like, I'm out. I don't need to hear that from Miz.
Oh my God.
I'm going to go ahead and put the Be Right Back sign up, and we'll be back on stream in a little bit with Question of the Day. All right, we're coming back on radio in a moment.
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler.
Yeah.
And you got the MVP, Miss Vanessa Pollack.
Yeah.
734-998-1050, 734-998. Does your thing not work? Does the thing not work? The button?
No, it works.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big meaty man slapping me.
So how you gonna see the Michigan game tomorrow? And where you sitting at?
On Saturday.
On Saturday, excuse me, not tomorrow, Saturday. Sorry, we don't have a show tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna
just
take
wanted to
tomorrow
hurry
off
it
for
along.
a Good Friday.
Yeah, I just want to hurry it along. Really, I want to get to it. But that being said, all I'm saying to you is where you sitting at, and I can come mess with you because I'm gonna be there. Hey, you tell me where you gonna be. I'll try to get to you. We'll meet somewhere. If it's raining, I ain't coming down. But if it's not raining, I'm with you all the way. I'm not buying any alcohol because I don't drink alcohol. But that being said, I buy you a hot dog.
We're gonna buy a lot of hot dogs, JMO.
Sirloin steak, man. I want wins. I want dubs. I want sirloin steak.
I don't want a hot dog. I want a steak.
Yeah, I want steak. I want
I
wins.
think Miss and I got maize, and you got blue, right? You got blue, JMO.
I do have blue.
That Vanessa, you and I may be behind the 8 ball here because Bryce is on Team Blue. We may be behind.
I'm not stupid. I mean, I may look it, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I know who to pick.
Put Veda on maize because you don't know. We could. That's some points right there.
Hey, I got you. I got you.
I mean, what other? Besides the spring game, we can kind of key that in with the question of the day, but also like there's a lot happening in town
right
that week, and you can see everything that's happening. MGoBlue.com. They have like a whole breakdown of like the weekend of fun here in Ann Arbor, with all the different sporting events happening at the same time as or following the spring game. So I mean, what are you gonna do after the spring game? There's a lot that's going on that day.
I'm going over to the lacrosse game.
That's at 4:00. It's a blue out, so that's your key there. Baseball, they have their second game against Iowa, who are at the top of the Big Ten, by the way, and they're in second place in the Big Ten. Iowa is.
Baseball's ranked in the top 63 now. 64.
Yep, they're in the early. This is the first time in the early time slot of the field of 64 for the NCAA tournament, and it's a tough region that they put them in right now.
It is. I saw that. Oh my god.
Yeah. At Florida State is where they've got them projected right now in the same field as Alabama and Navy. And Alabama, they're no slough team. That's a strong 2 seed that they got right there. Florida State, they've been dominant for quite some time. Which, by the way, I mean this wholeheartedly when I say thoughts and prayers go out to the people down at Florida State, as there was a terrible situation that happened down at in Tallahassee. So it seems like everything is in control, but obviously things are still being investigated down there. Where they're actually they canceled all the weekend athletics down at FSU. So thoughts and prayers to our brethren in Tallahassee at the very least. But there's a lot going on this weekend. The gymnastics NCAA finals are in town as well this weekend. Tennis at 1:00. lacrosse, the women's lacrosse team has at 1. Baseball at the Fish at 2. The men's lacrosse, again, it's for the regular season championship between Michigan and Ohio State, and the NCAA for gymnastics on the men's side is in town.
Right.
So there's a lot happening. Or maybe you're going downtown to see the Tigers. They got an afternoon game with Kansas City. So there's a lot happening in the Motor City. I think the Panthers are at home this weekend as well. So I mean, there's something happening. There's something happening. What's your game plan? What's your favorite Lee Corso moment as he announced his retirement from College Game Day?
My favorite Lee Corso moment? I really won't. I can't really say what my very favorite is, but I'm going to give you one when he picked
Houston over SMU.
He did.
But it wasn't because he picked. It was what he said before he put the Coug head.
It's what he said.
Yeah. That's what he said before the Coug head went on.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, that's one. And then where he had to come back and he had one little slippy boo-boo and he had to come back and apologize at halftime.
I think that was that was the exact same one where he came back after the first media break and like, I didn't realize I said a bad word on the TV, so I want to apologize for my bad language there.
Slippy boo-boos.
Yeah, he said a boo-boo. He said a bad word at the time.
He did.
But God, it made for an iconic.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was great. Desmond had his moment. Remember when Desmond said,
I think that was like the start of, you know what? We're going to go ahead and be a little loose-lipped is what we're going to do.
Exactly.
That was the beginning of it.
All downhill from there.
It took the old ball. It took old Sunshine Scooter to say the F word on the TV, and next thing you know, Desmond is cussing, and old ball coach and Saban's cussing. And then,
exactly what happened.
With it.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah, what are you gonna do to him? What are you gonna do to him? He's like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go.
You know what my favorite Lee Corso moment is? It's gonna be his last moment. Wherever they put him, whether it's the FSU Alabama game, it's the Texas OSU game. I feel like that's gonna be my favorite Lee Corso moment, and it hasn't happened yet. But it's gonna be his final, like, goodbye. You know, I'm officially retiring. I'm off the air.
Yeah, we're all gonna cry about it. We're all gonna be teary-eyed and everything like that. That's just how it's gonna be. It's like emotional.
I know. He's the face of College Game Day. I also think my favorite Lee Corso moment is anytime he actually gave Michigan a compliment, because there wasn't a lot of those.
That's true. That is very, very true. That is very true.
But I like Jamie's. That was the best one.
Any one that like he's had where like he's had a gaffe on the radio on TV.
Yes.
You know? The Georgia when he had the Georgia Bulldog. That dog is ugly.
He did.
Called a kid a little person, but
right.
the slang term.
Yes, he did.
Graciously.
Yes, he did. 734-998-1050. What's up, Mustafa?
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Vanessa?
Fantastic. It's good to talk to you.
Good to hear that. Hey, Jamie, I have to go to the game, though, Saturday, because usually the spring game, I was more of a stay home and get to see everything. I mean, whoever's doing what, the TV version was my preference just for the spring game.
Right.
But this one, since it's not going to be still until a week or 2 weeks later, I may have to go. I don't know why Michigan is doing this. Either just do the game the way you're supposed to do it, or the way you used to, or don't do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I think Mustafa. I think Mustafa. The reason why they're kind of doing that though is it's essentially kind of almost a jab at like what Matt Rule and the other coaches and the other programs that have said, oh, we're not going to have a spring game. Well, we're going to have it, but if you can't make it, we will air it, but after the transfer portal closes up, because you know that was their whole fear for other programs was that, oh, well, we were originally going to do it But the world of the transfer portal, we don't want to lose our guys because other teams are gonna be watching. Like, hey, we can get this guy. Let's just got to offer him more money.
Is Georgia Alabama showing their games the same day they're gonna play?
I don't think Alabama.
I don't think Alabama's playing a game.
Yeah, I don't think Alabama's doing theirs.
Well, then we're not, because I was like, let's just align with the big boys, and let the pretenders be the little brothers, whatever, not gonna play. You don't have enough players. Michigan State, I'm sure they're playing because they don't have. They done a couple years now. You can't fool anybody. You just don't have a good enough roster to showcase. If you're Michigan, though, I'd rather be on the side of like Ohio State and Georgia and them big boys. You have a good tradition. You're strong enough. You're gonna lose, a few players here and there, but just be confident within your program, your tradition, and your culture that you're gonna keep your guys. The people that you want to keep, you will keep them. But anyway, I will be there, obviously, and we go from there. Now, Jamie, I have a question for you.
I'll try to have an answer, Mustafa.
Right.
You want to meet me up on the bridge or something? You want to meet me on the bridge?
No, it's not that. You just talk about Mike DeBoer. Obviously, I don't know. I mean, I was just getting into Michigan football when he was here.
Right.
And the new receiver coach for Michigan, I think that's Stu Campbell or whatever.
Yeah, Eric Campbell.
Eric Campbell. So now the Lake Guy area, I remember that Michigan were able to just play a good passing offense to the point where they could attract some good receivers around here. Before my time, Anthony Carter, Brandon Edwards, Mario Manningham, Adrian Ellington, and on and on and on and on. So do you think would Campbell being back here as a receiver coach and the new offensive system, would that be enough? Because to me, this is my humble opinion. I think football now is just like basketball. It's too fancy. Nobody wants the physicality. All those players, they want the ball throwing at them. You get throw the ball so often, so much, that do you think Michigan gonna be able to play enough of passing offense to attract people down the line? Or we're just gonna have to stay who we are, and then we're not gonna get no high-flying receivers because we're not gonna be willing to play the type of game that those kids want nowadays.
I think they will throw the ball a little bit more as Bryce gets much more comfortable in the offense. Look, Chip Lindsey is a great offensive coordinator, and you are going to expect that defenses are going to come in and try to stop the running game. If Michigan is allowed to run the ball, they will. And why wouldn't we? But that being said, they're going to try to stop the run. They're going to come after Bryce Underwood. And Bryce Underwood, that's when you leave him open and you leave those receivers open, because you got to bring more men to the front. And then it's just a number. It's just numbers, counting. Who's got less and who's got more. And you have more once you got to open. Mustafa, it's the old Michigan idea. We're going to run it until you stop it. And then once they try to stop it, we're going to go over the top of you. That's what they did with JJ. I think the same thing.
That would be just run a little, just pass just a little bit. Because the reason I asked this question came this morning on the round table, the MGO Black round table. And that's Sam. He talked about that. He said, you can forget about it. Michigan, the way it is right now, the way Michigan is constructed, the way they played the last few years, and the way they're going to play in the near future, you're not going to expect to get any one of those high-flying receivers, because teams going to recruit against you. They're going to recruit.
No, you're right. He's right.
Any kid.
Look, you may not get the 5-star. You may not get the 5-star receivers, Mustafa, but Michigan has a long tradition of developing young receivers too. I mean, you could get a 3-star and make him a 4-star. You can get a 4-star and make him a 5-star. Look, I get it. Everybody wants that 5-star receiver and everything like that. That 5-star receiver wants you to throw the ball every time you snap the ball. And that's not going to happen here at Michigan. You've got to be able to talk this young man into, this is what we do. We're going to throw the ball, but we're going to run the ball too. And we're going to run the ball probably 50 to 55% of the time. But that other 45, you're going to get the ball in the air. Is that enough?
And that's me.
Mustafa and Vanessa.
Go ahead.
We've talked to a lot of sports analysts, and you've probably heard on our show regularly as you listen in, and they've talked a lot about having a very balanced offensive attack strategy, right? So I think we're going to see a lot of what Jamie's saying. I mean, when we talk to Angelique Changelis, when we talk to John Borton, and we talk to these guys, and they talk about how balanced our strategy is and that we need to do that. And I don't think Sharon Moore is going to let it down either, because that was his former role, right? He was the guy. He had the best offensive line in the country multiple years in a row. He won the Joe Moore Award a couple of different times. He was the guy, right? So he's not going to, I don't see it really crumbling. I mean, he can't let it crumble. It's almost like his reputation is on the line, right? Even though he's the head coach. So I do see it being very balanced. I do see, Bryce Underwood having to accommodate that and get used to it and it be maybe a little different than what he is used to, but that's the Michigan way. So I do think that we've got, run game and pass game. It'll be fun to watch on Saturday. And I'm actually really disappointed I can't be there, but I'll be very interested to hear everybody's thoughts, including your own, next time we get on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, because the reason, I'm on the record telling Jamie, even when JJ was here, I mean, I'm very jealous about what we have here. It belongs to us. We are known throughout the country for being a tough, physical-minded team. And to me, if we can get back to the Loikar era, because I remember those days, I was just getting into football, but Michigan was serviceable on both ways. They could throw the ball just enough, and they can just run the ball. So you kept your physicality up front, but also you can attract and, play a decent passing game where I remember those days. And to me, just getting back to that is enough. If that can get you some receivers, fine. Otherwise, just stay. Just do that.
Lloyd Carr, if you watch the Lloyd Carr years, I mean, that was like Chris Perry up the middle, Chris Perry up the middle, Chris Perry up the middle. I mean, that was Lloyd Carr. So I'm hoping to see a little more passing game like you're talking about, right? I don't know what that looks like, but, hopefully we get a flavor of it Saturday.
Well, that would be enough for me because I remember that Chris Perry game against Michigan State. If you have to do that on any given game, I'm okay with that. I remember that Michigan State game where we just ran the ball. They couldn't stop it. It was just so good to see as a Michigan fan and so demoralizing as an MSU fan. What I'm saying, though, is I remember some Loikar games where they opened up. I remember that game against Notre Dame in South Bend from, it was like Chad Henne just dropping bombs after bombs. So, to me, that mixture should be good enough. But for me, for my sake, for Mustafa, just don't open it up like the way other teams are doing. I just hate to see that. I hope we stay who we are, ground and pound team. Even Jake Butt last night was saying Ohio State is very good on the outside. But where they're going to be struggling against Michigan is the trenches. They don't have enough deep tackles. They don't have enough defensive linemen. Stay who you are. You're going to win a lot of games because teams are not going to be able to match up with your style of football. Is that right, Jamie?
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Don't open it up. Don't do it.
You got to open up a little bit, Mustafa. I'm telling you. You can't be stodgy. Anyway.
Well, I mean, that's the reason why I think they put even, when Jansen was on for, they did the podcast with him and Brian Bush, and they were talking about, what the parameters were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
They're only going to allow 2 trick plays. So you're not going to get the full playbook.
No, you're not getting the full playbook.
So, I mean, if that's a fear that anyone has when Ohio State watches a spring game, they're just going to be watching. They're going to be paying attention to all the trick plays. They're not. There's only going to be a couple. So
no,
chill.
They're going to be stealing more of our signs.
Yeah,
that Ohio State crew.
and that's fine. Go ahead and steal the signs. We'll just tell you how things are going to go. When you think that we're gonna try to pass on you, and our running game is better than the passing game, if that ends up being the case, guess what? We're gonna run it down your throat like we did the past 4 freaking years, and you can't stop it. So go ahead, watch, sit at home, eat your terrible food that you have there. No one likes spaghetti with whatever kind of mush you put in your spaghetti.
What?
Yeah, that's as close to Columbus as you can get. Cincinnati chili. We put that on your pasta.
Oh, okay. I didn't
put
know
that
you were
nasty
going
mush on your
there.
pasta.
Some people swear by that Skyline chili. You can't say
Skyline
that.
chili. I mean, Angelique loves
People
the
are going to send
Skyline
you
chili.
death
That's
threats.
not, hey, listen, I love Angelique to death. You know this as much as I do. I love her to death. But here's the one thing about Skyline chili. What is the region that we live in, Jamie Morris?
We live in the Michigan region.
I mean, like the Big East, the great,
Oh, Big Ten.
Well, I mean, we're in the Midwest. is what I'm
Midwest.
trying to get
Okay.
at. All I'm trying to say is this: is one individual has said it best, one way, one shape, one way after another. And apparently, I'm getting an ad when I'm trying to play this little video clip to show what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
Here. I'm delaying it as much as I possibly can. But all I'm saying is this: is that we live in the Midwest, and the best way to say it is this: Skyline chili. Mid.
Okay.
Everything about you.
Mid. Okay.
Mid.
Ooh, you're gonna get such backlash. There's people that like
people
drink
love
that stuff.
Michigan, they got Skyline chili in Michigan.
Send it back. We got our own Coney style. We got our own Coney here.
I mean, you got Flint and you got Detroit.
I'll take Flint Coney stuff over Skyline chili, and I've been on record by saying that Flint Coneys, and Sandwell will bust through the door somehow. Flint Coneys are just taco dogs, bruh. That's all Flint Coneys are.
You better not go south of Toledo.
Exactly. There's no reason for me to go south of Toledo.
Oh my God. Have you had Skyline chili?
It's mid.
Okay.
It's
Miz,
mid.
I didn't know you were a chili connoisseur.
Wow.
We're going to have a cook-off.
Body
We're gonna
by
have
chili.
everybody at WTKA and get a cook-off. I want your chili.
Listen, if there's someone in the front, as far as the sales staff, which everyone is gone because no one really showed up today, but if there's anyone that wants to put something together about a summertime,
out the sales staff.
I don't care. If I had to show up, why not? But if there's someone willing to set up a summertime chili cook-off, I would be more than honored to judge said chili cook-off. I will do that.
You can't do it in the summer. It's like a hot food, and it's 90 degrees in the summer. We're going to have to do this like next winter or the fall.
That's fine. We'll do it. We'll do. How about
fall
this?
chili cook-off?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
That's when you want to eat hot food, right? You don't want to eat like chili in the middle of July.
Fall chili cook-off.
There's like a double we got like double like weekend games where the Wolverines are on the road. Let's figure something out with that. Let's make it work. I will judge it, or I'll be the lead judge. I'll MC it. I don't care. I will be unbiased.
Okay. As long as I get a
Only people that are watching it on stream are like, we saw what you
Oh
did there.
man, Jamie, I was gonna make $1 million chili.
What's $1 million?
You know what
Well, I can alter it.
Freaking dollars. You got to put filet mignon in there.
Oh,
Chop it up real fine. It's
nobody can have filet.
I gotta eat that.
I can have some filet.
It's that $1 million chili. It's like $20 chili if I take.
We got to go to a break. And Philly E, hang on. We'll get you on the other side. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
Clear on.
Was I supposed to do it?
Do what?
Ryan Day sucks. Go blue or go home.
I didn't say do that. I was going for.
I mean, on the stream, people heard it, so.
That's right. You can watch all the outtakes on YouTube.
That's right.
That's actually probably more entertaining. Is this type of like what is it called? The outtakes, like in movies? Yeah, the outtakes.
Oh yeah, the outtake stuff always seems to be the more entertaining thing to watch sometimes. rather than the actual stuff
All
that
I know
happened.
is my dentist, she put her foot on the table and was digging deep. Jesus, my mouth hurt.
You do have a hot mic, Jamie. I do want to point that out.
I didn't. I said I didn't say anything bad. I didn't. Everything I said was true.
Okay, as long as
she put her foot on the table and she was going in there, man. That's all.
Sometimes you got to keep drilling until you strike Earl.
She struck Earl, all right, boy.
Are you guys speaking English? What is going on right now?
Jamie had some dental work done.
I had some dental work done.
That was kind of the joke of the whole thing.
That was the joke of the whole thing.
That's why when he did his live read, I was kind of joking around about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
I went and saw her today because my implant got, it was
Ouch.
loose. So
Ouch.
she said, she got upset and said, "You don't deserve this." And I said, "Okay, you need better. I'll do better." And she went to work.
Did you get knocked out? Did they give you some juice?
Oh no, she gave me juice, the local juice.
Okay.
My face is now, the numbness finally subsided. I mean, she gave me some juice. I couldn't hold water in my mouth. I'm spitting all over the place. I'm like, oh my God. But she did a great job.
People say funny things when they get the juice. Like
That's
the
why
gas.
I didn't really talk to people. No, I didn't get the gas.
You didn't get the gas?
I didn't get the gas. I just got local.
See, I ended up getting the gas and the numbing stuff, and I got my wisdom teeth.
I got the numbing, yeah,
years ago.
Same.
And the ortho, it wasn't technically an orthodontist. It was the dentist or whatever that did the procedure. I gotta give him credit that I walk in and he's got Stairway to Heaven playing as I'm walking into the like.
Oh my God.
And I walk in the minute I hear the first couple strings of the guitar playing. I just kind of looked at him and go, I know I'm in good hands.
Oh, I knew I was in good hands. She took care of this.
Or it's an omen. Stairway to Heaven.
I thought it was hilarious. Because I've got that kind of weird sense of humor, but that's also something that's been passed on from my father too.
Okay.
That's funny. Guys, I had beignets today.
Oh, nice.
Cafe Du Monde.
Oh, wow. Right there.
I hear
I'm
that's
going to Hotel Monteleone to my favorite little carousel bar to get a beverage. I'm not really a big drinker, but they have some cool stuff there. So we're going to stop in, get a little picture on the carousel.
What are you
It's like that fancy hotel, and I don't know. So,
by the way, I took
the
a
big
look.
easy.
Alabama apparently did not cancel their spring game.
No. Didn't, but they're not. There's something going on. I thought they did.
Some schools are altering how they're doing things, probably like how Michigan did it a few years ago, where it's not like a legitimate, like, quote unquote spring game, like
right,
like almost like just a giant overglorified practice kind of thing, where they're like it was like 30 minutes or 45 minutes on the clock, and it was just like, hey, here's what practice looks like, guys, and now get off my lawn when the clock is out. I mean, it's really kind of how it felt, but Illinois will not have a televised spring game due to ongoing construction. Okay, so their
stadium.
Yeah, their stadium's getting worked on.
Right.
Minnesota, similar to BYU, the Golden Gophers did not hold a spring game last year. No plans for this year.
Do you feel like we're gonna break a record this year? Like,
as far as attendance goes?
Yeah.
I think it could change. I think you're going to get an increase this year compared to the past couple. I think last year was on the higher side. Well, I don't know so much last year on the higher side, but I know the one a couple years ago was probably the more attended one because that was the year that Michigan won the Natty. So I think there's a lot of they wanted to see what was expected. I think there could be a larger size this year, especially with how the whole TV stuff is going to be getting planned out, though. So I think that comes into play here.
Well, so that's what I was thinking. It's not being televised not that people can't watch it, 8 or 9 days later, but people kind of want to see it like in the moment. It's like DVRing a show versus seeing it live. So
true.
That's funny.
I don't know. Maybe we'll break a record. Maybe we won't.
We'll see. We will see. But I know is that we are coming back from break. So
Oh
stand
my
by.
God, that is so funny.
What?
This is the M Zone.
And welcome back to the M Zone. Jamie Morris, Matt the Hitman Missler, best guy in the Bizzler, and the MVP, Miss Vanessa Pollack. We're all here. 734-998-1050. What are you doing in Ann Arbor this weekend? If you came to Ann Arbor, what would you be doing? Would you go to the spring game? Would you go to the battle of the lacrosse game? Battle between Michigan and Ohio State. This is for the championship.
Regular season crown on the line between the two. Both of them 3-1 records in conference play.
Okay.
So someone's got to win.
You got baseball and you got men's gymnastics.
Yep. Women's lacrosse happening earlier in the day. Same with women's tennis. They close out with Michigan State. Both the women's games are at 1:00 at their respective locations. Both of them right on State Street. So
what are you gonna do in Ann Arbor? 734-998-1050. What up, Philly E?
Real simple answer. Bryce, baby. And I'm telling you right now, our boy from 8 Mile, what's his face?
Slim?
Yeah. Slim is going to have to get some permission from Vanilla Ice to kind of remake that song, and that's got to be up on the big screen. That's just the way it's got to be. It's got to be like, you got to do it. Great stuff. Anyway, if you truly are a Corso fan, I have to say, before he was big time, he did some stuff in the 90s. He was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say in 1995, and when it was Corso, Fowler, and Craig James, this is pre-Herb Street.
Yes.
Craig James, by the way, biggest career suicide of his life by going to CBS Sports and not staying there because he was already becoming a somebody. But they used to do commercials, and like I'm going to say 1995, where those three would follow around this big giant dude. And they'd follow him to class, they'd follow him to the locker room, they'd follow him to frat parties, and they'd just break the dude's balls. And he kind of reminded you of Finch from the Wildcats. He was this monstrous dude. So those are great commercials. I don't know if you can YouTube them, but that's when that show started gaining some popularity. But Corso back in the day was great. Unfortunately, I'd say in recent years, he's I don't know. He's been a shell of himself. He's almost kind of approached the Dick Hall status at the end of his run, which was kind of sad to see. So anyway, I'm hoping somebody bootlegs this thing. I don't know, maybe one of these lesser known podcasters like a TJ Ronan or
just gave you the thumbs
or
up.
Johnny Oden. Maybe one of those dudes will have a watch party. I don't know. But
I'm with you, Philly. I'm with you on that.
If they find out about it, that's all I got to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping somebody does. I'm out of town this weekend, and I'm disappointed because I'm missing the game. But I had heard there might be some YouTubers streaming it. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to catch it for a while. So that's where I'll be watching it from, out of town, if I can. On a bootleg network somewhere.
Yeah, we need some illegalities going on. I'm hoping anyway.
You guys are gonna get everybody in trouble. You're gonna get everybody in trouble. Talking about I was listening to the M Zone of Jamie Morris, and he said there's gonna be bootlegging.
We didn't say that. We just hope that there's just people that hope that's gonna happen. We didn't say anything about that. We were.
We need rerun and a tape recorder underneath his shirt, right?
Oh my God!
Just a cheap iPhone 7 or something like that. You know, we don't care about the grainy
Do
quality.
you know who Rerun is?
Rerun? No.
Yeah. Rerun.
What?
You don't know who Rerun is?
No. Refresh me.
How about you, Miss? Rerun?
Wasn't
These
Rerun
guys
a
are
part
too
of
young for
the?
that.
What wasn't a part? Wasn't he a part of like Fat Albert or something?
No. But you're closer than you're close. He is fat. Rerun was
Yes,
from
I am.
What's Happening.
Oh, okay,
Remember the show What's
Are
Happening?
you dating yourself again?
Yes, we are dating ourselves.
Is this where we're having a giant celebration for you this June, and we're going to get a big blimp that flies over Ann Arbor that has a 60 on it, and we have confetti all over the station?
Celebrating. We are
Yes,
not
we are.
celebrating
It's a milestone.
anything.
You're turning.
I'm getting him a
40.
giant key. I'm getting him a prop giant key.
We're not getting a key. We are not getting anything.
We're getting a giant key for the mayor, the unofficial mayor of
I
Ann Arbor.
will not be around that day. I'm just telling you.
I will
We're
fly
going to
out.
bring a
I will
cardboard
fly out to
cutout,
fly.
and we're going to have it.
I will give it to your. I will give it to your better half, and she will give it to you on vacation.
Hey, Miz.
Yes, sir.
You're a morning show guy. You got to ask Sam about the steroid. He was getting rubbed down with the steroid. I want to know if it was the clear or the clean.
Ask him if it was the clear, or was it white?
I want to ask if he got the stuff from his boy, from your boy Lorenzo, if that's what it was. If he got it from Zoe.
Hey, Lorenzo admitted it. We had that on our team.
I know.
Well, one thing's for sure. If his hat size increases 3 times in the next 6 months, we know he's on the Barry Bonds shiz whiz. So, just saying.
We're talking about
what else we got here. Oh, by the way, you brought it up, so I threw this together.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Top 5 defenders of all time in Michigan history.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. By the way, Glenn Steele.
I like Glenn Steele. Glenn Steele was the 97 hero, forgotten hero.
How did we not
They
have
took him
Lamar
for
Miller?
granted. They took him for granted.
He's dynamite. By the way, how about that opening play at State College, right?
Oh my
Where
God.
put the big
He
red
set the
head down. You
tone.
just knew
He
we were
set the
about to be
tone right now. He said, that ain't happening. He set the
Play
tone.
game. You knew it was in the bag, baby. Anyway, I got Charles, Dave Brown. That's JJ's. JJ said, bar none, best safety in Michigan history, 2-time All-American. I remember him more as an all-time Seattle Seahawk when he was paired with Kenny Easley in the 80s. My second all-time favorite Wolverine in person, of course, Jamie Morris is my number 1 guy. Trip Wellborn, how about him? Was he just an unbelievable safety?
He was.
So I got Charles, Dave Brown, Trip, Mason Graham.
Okay.
Gotta put him in there, man.
I like it.
3 years, unbelievable. And I got a tie for Aiden and Brandon Graham. I got those guys as a tie for 5th. So it's really 6 guys. But I'm telling you, with those 6 dudes right there, we're not losing. Just not. I don't have any linebackers on there, though. I gotta say, I have to say that the best defensive players in Michigan history were probably either down linemen or guys in the secondary. So at least that's where I was with that. The Travis Hunter thing. You know, I was seeing this thing the other day where he's saying if he's not playing both ways, he's not gonna. I mean, come on.
He wasn't going to play. That's what he said.
I'm not believing that, but that's an easy fix. I think you just play him defense, and he's a gadget guy on offense. Why would that be so hard to do? You know, that's it. Now, I will say this. If this kid truly thinks he's going to play 130 to 140 plays at the National Football League for 17 weeks, that's great if he plans on having a 3 or 4 year career. And we don't have to go to ancient history here, ladies and gentlemen. If you remember McCaffrey, when he had that 1,000-yard rushing and 1,000-yard receiving season, look what happened to him the ensuing, 2 or 3 years. His career was in peril. He couldn't get on the field. And that was 1 year of that. It was 1 year of that. So, you know, I think he would be better off doing some spot duty as a gadget guy. And all he has to do is look at Darryl Green, where Darryl Green collected a paycheck for a whopping 20 years. Didn't have a 5-year career, right? And he did play special teams, right?
Mhm.
We all remember when he beat the Bears in the playoff game, or had that intercostal injury as he was going in the end zone, his rib. So anyway, that would be my advice to the kid because it's the National Football League. It's a grind your first year. Jamie, do you not hit a wall your first year?
Oh, you hit a wall because the wall's hitting you all the time. Trust me. That wall hits you every time. Trust me. Those are grown men hitting you, trying to take your head off.
And Jamie, as far as your boy Milroe, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today. You think about Richardson. What was he like? Their second or third pick in the draft? What was Richardson with the Colts?
He was their number one pick.
Well, here's what kills you. Milroe was a better prospect, right? Better career at college, right? He accomplished more. Dude runs a 4.3. Yet Milroe's lucky if he gets it high into the second round. And you got this other freaking clown who didn't put anything on tape that I thought. I mean, his was all about measurables. He didn't do anything in Florida. Florida was horrible. And yet that guy, what, second pick and third pick in the draft?
Dude, he was the second pick. Yeah, he was the second or third pick of the draft because they drafted him on talent.
It's
unforeseen talent. Unforeseen talent.
So here's my path for Mr. Milroe. Get drafted in the second round, a la Randall Cunningham in 1985, and you know what? Maybe you'll
get yourself a quarterback coach. Get yourself a quarterback coach. That's all I'm saying. That kid needs work. He needs work, but
he needs work.
Cordell Stewart,
right?
Remember him? Cordell Stewart.
Jamie, do you remember what the Eagles did with Randall Cunningham?
Yeah.
So they would take Jaworski out because it was 3rd and 20.
Right.
Put Randall in.
Exactly. Dude, that was the greatest thing they did for him.
Failure.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's put Randall in. It's 3rd and 20. It's like, really?
And he'd be hounded by Lawrence Taylor. He'd be outrunning Lawrence Taylor for that first down. Think about it.
Absolutely crazy. And I'm going to bring this up. I said it, and it's playing out exactly the way I said it.
Uh-oh.
Because it's still in the news, the creep is not signed with anybody because the creep is enjoying hanging out, doing what he gets to do when he wants to do it.
Right.
Because the second the creep signs with somebody, then he's on their clock. He's going to have to beat the facility. He's going to have to start working with the receivers. And do you really think he wants to put work in, or do you think he just wants to hang out and do what he wants to do when he wants to do it? So that's where I'm at with that. But it was funny, in the midst of the tournament and opening day of baseball, ESPN's morning show reports for 15 minutes, they reported that there's no news on the creep. It's like, oh, wait a second. So we're gonna talk about that. The news is there's no news for 15 minutes on this. So it's amazing how you mentioned Mr. Rogers' name and the media just loses their mind for 10, 15 minutes over absolutely nothing.
I call it the McAfee effect.
Yeah.
And
it's a great way to put it.
I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Everybody keeps bringing this up, and I'm going to tell you to chill out. Everything's going to be fine. Okay? Everybody's worrying about the OL, and I get it. But I think they held up against Bama. And Captain Jack and JTT did nothing. I wanted to bring this up yesterday. JT, they did nothing, right? I just can't see the offensive line getting worse. Okay? Now, here's the real thing. Because Bryce is such a rare talent, and he's a dual threat guy, and who could probably play, I'm just looking at athleticism and what he has, I'm sure he'll be able to play above the X's and O's on certain plays, right? So my thing is, with a talent like that, we should be able to scheme around an average offensive line if that is the case. And Jamie, what am I going to say next? Where have I seen this before?
I don't know. Tell me.
Fat Joe. He had unknown name, Trace McSorley, and a guy named, I don't know, Saquon. We didn't really know who this guy was. Oh, my God.
He's still comparing this. I don't know what I get it.
Hey, 49-10. We know that score. When we beat them 49-10, and I realized that they were missing linebackers, but they weren't missing offensive personnel. We beat them 49-10, and nobody thought in a million years that a month later that they would be the Big Ten champs, right?
Right. They went and
My
beat
point
Ohio
is-
State.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. They schemed around a very average offensive line because they had a really good running back. We didn't know how good he was yet. And I get credit. They probably had Godwin and Gesicki, too. He would just throw those balloon balls up there. But my point is the dual threat quarterback, right? So my point is we're going to have enough talent. And if we have a good enough scheme and we use this kid, we use his legs, we use his arm, and you kind of just brought it up. You brought it up, right? Yeah, you want to load up against the run? No problem.
Right.
We got a pretty talented quarterback. He's going to be able to get that ball downfield to a wide open guy. So if Trace McSorley can do it, then guess what? I think number 19 is going to be just fine as well. Now, we can't get the kid killed. I get all that, but I think we're going to be just fine. And I can't wait to see this offense. So that's where I'm at with that. Let's not lose our minds with the offensive line, and I get it. It's a work in progress, and I wouldn't call it a concern.
Bryce, baby, right?
Right,
Billy?
concern. All right?
All right.
So that's where I'm at with that. Jamie, you got any other questions?
No, I'm good. You got me full this week. Hey, we're not on tomorrow, so I'm just letting you know because I don't want to hear from you saying, why aren't you guys on? I'm telling you right now, we're not on tomorrow.
Well, you guys have a good holiday weekend. I know I will. All right. And I'll talk to you Sunday. Or no, Miz, you don't have a show anymore, right?
Yeah, we're off until the Sunday before the home opener.
All right, boys. I'll talk to you all Monday and go blue.
Go blue. I think he dumped his trash can.
So a couple things before we get out of here, by the way. Sharon Moore actually sat down with one of I'm assuming one of Clayton Safey's colleagues, JD Pickle from On3.
Okay.
And one of the topics of conversation was who's going to be the man to lead things. And he said, quote, you can say something in spring, but it changes. So we're going to take our time with the process of who that person is. So they will not announce until the week before the first game.
Why
so
would you announce? You don't have to announce anything.
Everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to wants to know the inside. Everyone wants to know the skibby of things. That's all. Everyone wants that.
Use your eyes. If you see the guy playing, he who start the game will be the starter until further notice.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say.
Also, former freshman power forward Sam Walters has officially come out of the transfer portal. He is going to Mississippi State.
Three.
So Walters is heading down to the SEC. Tigers baseball today opening up starting a 10-game homestand with the first of 4 with Kansas City.
You know what that
tonight.
means, right? You guys get it? You know what that means?
No, I don't. What's that mean?
Spring's coming.
Oh.
It's going to be warm.
Okay. I was wondering what that was going with. I didn't know he was going with that one. But Reese Olson will get the start on the bump today. 6:40 first pitch. You'll hear the game on the radio on the Big 1050 WTKA. And today happens to be the final day for John Keating, formerly of Fox Sports, Pass, Bally Sports, and now FanDuel Sports. He is hanging up the microphone today after tonight's Red Wing Maple Leaf game.
Wow.
He will hang up the microphone. So another legend is retiring in the media.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Vanessa, you're going to have a good time in New Orleans?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm down here, but you can't not have a good time in New Orleans.
I'm just making sure.
I had my beignets. I'm getting a massage tomorrow at the spa.
Ooh.
We've stopped in. We did they had the haunted history tours, so it's fun. I love it. And it's nice and warm. 80 degrees and sunny, J-Mo.
Well, we're all jealous of you right now.
No, I'm just rubbing that in.
I wish it was 80 degrees for spring game tomorrow.
I know.
Saturday.
I am missing the spring game.
Saturday. I'm sorry. It's Thursday. Tomorrow is Good Friday. Enjoy your holiday weekend, everyone.
Enjoy WrestleMania 41 from Vegas. It's happening. I'm going to enjoy that myself.
That's going to be good.
Do you know Greek Easter and American Easter are both on the same Sunday?
They're on the same day this year.
Yep.
Huh, wow.
Usually it happens once every like 8 years
Yeah.
or so. And so they both on the same Sunday. So I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm used to having like 2 Easters.
That's going to do it for the M Zone today and the rest of the week. Enjoy yourself. If I see you, I'll say hi to you. Just don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Exactly. You're listening to the M Zone on the Big 1050.
Ryan Day sucks. Go blue or go home.